Naruto, God Rewards Hard Work, Chapter 61. Naruto didn't know that the old L just now was a member of the Umbrella. If he knew, he would probably sigh. Transform the ninja world, pursue dreams in longevity, and witness everything at the top. With goals and plans in mind, Naruto is not confused. Even if the future is bumpy, it is also a kind of fun. After all, this is life. At this moment, Naruto has come to the oasis to rest, and when he entered the oasis, he used the transformation technique to become a very ordinary man from the Wind Country with the appearance of all living beings. That is what modern people call a popular face. You look like anyone and look like no one. Isn't it a popular face? You can't find that kind of face in the crowd. How can you be as handsome as the readers? Naruto rested for a while and then set out on the road to the sand village again. He didn't use his flying ability to fly. After all, he had to keep his chakra. Although Naruto not only used his own chakra this time, but also asked the Nine Tails for a ball of chakra, he still had to save it. In case of any situation, he would have enough chakra and confidence. Before coming, Naruto also used a sealing technique to isolate the detection of the perception and make Naruto's chakra fluctuations unable to be captured by others. It only lasted for a month and dissipated automatically after a month. But it was enough. Naruto walked quickly on the road and began to feel the throbbing of the wind. But it was useless. The ability of God's reward for hard work does not seem to be able to be blessed on the clone. Ellipsis. After a day's journey, Naruto finally arrived at the edge of the sand village. At this time, Naruto began to be extra careful. Because there are a large number of ninjas in the sand village. Although it is not necessarily impossible to defeat them, but if you use less chakra, it will not recover. Earth Escape Nuclear Submarine. The ninjutsu was activated, and a submarine formed by Earth swallowed Naruto and began to sneak in the soil. When he arrived underground in the sand village, Naruto began to use Kagura's Heart's Eye to sense the position of the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Kagura's Heart's Eye is a ninjutsu that only a few Uzumaki clan members can master. It is a super large-scale perception ninjutsu. Although it is called a ninjutsu, Naruto feels that it is a half ninjutsu from the blood. Because only the Uzumaki clan can use it, and it is a minority. If you know the other party's chakra, you can also accurately locate it. The prototype of Naruto's perception is the chakra of the nine tail in his body. Although the chakra of the one tail is different from that of the nine tail, they are both tailed beasts. It is easier to distinguish it from the chakra of ordinary ninjas when perceiving it, and it can also reduce Naruto's unnecessary consumption. Closing his eyes slightly, Naruto activated the ninjutsu. After a few seconds, Naruto suddenly opened his eyes. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Found it. Naruto began to move again by burrowing into the earth. With the sealing technique, it was difficult for Naruto to expose his own chakra. As long as he didn't make too much noise. Naruto kept sneaking and gradually came to where Gaara was. What surprised Naruto a little was that there was no ninja monitoring Gaara's residence. Then he thought about it. That's right. After all, if he was monitored, he might be discovered by Gaara and killed directly by Gaara. After all, Gaara was still a problem child at this time. Thinking about what happened to Gaara, Naruto shook his head. This was all because of the ambitious people. Basically, every Chiriki was unfortunate. Power. It is always terrifying, especially the uncontrolled power. Especially Gaara's father, Rasa, is really an irresponsible father. In order to allow Gaara to control the power of Shukaku, he kept sending people to assassinate Gaara. What a clever guy. This also made Gaara gradually become a bloodthirsty person who was eager to prove his existence by killing people. Gaara didn't know the meaning of his existence. His father wanted to kill him, and his uncle was sent by Rosa to test him. Gaara thought so himself. Even his sister and brother were afraid of him. The villagers were also afraid of his existence. This gradually forced Gaara into the abyss of darkness. This is simply the blackened Naruto. If Naruto turned black, Naruto would generally have some identification with Gaara, probably because of the same identity and experience of the two. However, Naruto did not turn black in his previous life, probably because of the influence of Ashura's chakra. However, Naruto has never felt the Ashura chakra in his body. And didn't feel affected at all. Maybe it's because his strength is too low to sense it. Naruto didn't come out from the ground. It was almost evening now. Coming out now would probably attract other people's attention, even though there was no one around Gaara now. According to Naruto's observation, Gaara lived in a single family room, and there were no residents living around, probably because of Gaara's identity. As for the Kazekage Rasa, he was not there either. He was probably panning for gold in the sand or in the Kazekage building. Temari and Kankuro were not there either. This was a good time to contact Gaara. However, Naruto did not act rashly, but waited for the night to fall. Night is the best time to contact Gaara. Because the sealing technique of the sand village is so crude, as soon as Gaara falls asleep, Shukaku will compete with Gaara for control of his body. At this time, Shukaku can easily penetrate the chakra through the gaps in the sealing technique. This also caused Gaara to have two big dark circles under his eyes, just like a little panda. When night fell, Naruto also saw Gaara's sister and brother Kanjiro, who looked more immature than in the original book. Temari should be about 13 years old now, Kanjiro is about 12 years old now, and Gaara is about the same as Naruto now, about 10 years old. Temari's neck showed a little ninja fishnet outfit, and the outside was tightly wrapped in ninja clothes, with a pair of long legs. Even Naruto couldn't help but smack his lips when he saw the long legs. The three of them did not live in the same room. Compared with the two people, Gaara's room was a little far away. Suddenly, Naruto found that Temari actually began to take off her clothes and started to take a shower, just facing the window, just facing the roof that Naruto had turned into a small stone. A piece of white, at least 1 c is estimated by I. Suddenly, Naruto's face turned red, and he felt inexplicably sorry for Shikamaru. If Shikamaru knew, he would probably say, "Are you polite?" Just like that, Naruto waited with an inexplicable mood, while Temari and Kankuro slowly fell asleep. When the moon hung overhead, Gaara felt inexplicably uncomfortable in the room. Damn the one tail. He forced himself to look at the ceiling. At this time, a voice suddenly came into Gaara's mind. Ellipsis. Who? Gaara stood up and looked around vigilantly. Dare to come. Just come to the desert outside by yourself. The voice in my mind sounded again. Gaara was puzzled and stimulated by Naruto. Could it be another assassin sent by my father? Gaara's heart began to overflow with murderous intent. He left directly from the window, leaving the curtains swaying slightly. I don't know if it was the wind or if Gaara touched it. Chapter 62. Gaara looked at the desert outside, following the chakra traces left by the owner of the mysterious voice. It was only 2 seconds, but Gaara followed closely. When he came to a desert, the chakra disappeared, and Gaara knew that the place must be here. The moonlight was bright, the moon was in the sky, and the moonlight was scattered on the ground like crushed, and from time to time, a small wind and sand blew. A figure wearing a bamboo hat appeared in front of Gaara, a head taller than Gaara. Who are you? Gaara asked. The murderous intent in his heart could not help but boil. It was probably another assassin sent by Luasha. Gaara was used to it. Although Luasha had not sent anyone to kill him recently, he didn't care about it. Only blood is the most beautiful, and it can prove my existence. But I only love my own Shura. Hello, Gaara. Naruto threw his hat away and it got stuck on a rock in the Gobi Desert. His delicate and handsome face was revealed. His golden hair and smile made Gaara a little dazed. This smile without any negative emotions made Gaara's heart skip a beat. Ha ha ha. Killing him can prove my existence. Gaara is now bloodthirsty and in an extremely abnormal state of mind. Naruto looked at Gaara's crazy look, sighed, and felt that Rasa was a big stick. A good boy was forced to become a problem child. Naruto took 2 steps forward, clapped his hands, and a medium-sized barrier was set up by Naruto. This is to prevent being discovered by the people of the Sand Village. After all, they are still outside the village, so it's always right to be careful. Then, Naruto directly revealed the 9 Tails chakra. Shukaku, who was dozing in Gaara's body, suddenly opened his eyes, the smell of a stinky fox. Shukaku began to continuously attack the seal in Gaara's body, and the characteristics of sandification gradually appeared on his body. Feeling the abnormality of his body, Gaara thought that the One Tail was going to compete with him for control of his body again. Get back! Gaara shouted angrily, mobilizing his chakra to suppress the One Tail Shukaku. Although the sealing technique of the Sand Village was not very good, it was still able to suppress the One Tail. The One Tail immediately felt a strong pressure pressing its power back. After struggling several times, the One Tail Shukaku stopped struggling because he noticed something unusual, as if the guy opposite was weird. He didn't seem to sense the existence of Kurama. Could it be that he was a human who had obtained some stinky fox chakra? Gaara felt the One Tail retreating and no longer struggling, and thought that he had given up again as usual, so he didn't think much and turned to look at Naruto. Looking at the chakra in Naruto's hand, he recognized it. It was the tailed beast chakra. Could it be? Gaara understood instantly that perhaps the other party was also a tailed beast Jinchuriki. The murderous intent in his heart suddenly weakened a little. Who are you? Me. Naruto smiled and continued, I am the same as you. I am an ominous person, but we are not born to be ominous, they forced us to be like this. When Gaara heard Naruto's words, he felt inexplicably touched in the first half, and murderous intent rose in the second half. We are the same kind of people. Gaara, do you believe in light? I am here to lead you out of the darkness. Naruto felt like he was fooling a kid. Gaara's body paused for a moment, then his face gradually became ferocious, and he shouted, I don't need anyone, I love my own Shura. Gaara suddenly rushed up like crazy. Okay. Naruto waved his hands. After all, he couldn't beat Snake Uncle. They all said I had a mouth-to-mouth trick, where was it? It seems that we still have to fight. Naruto actually expected that without strength, others would not want to listen to what you say. Naruto looked at Gaara's angry look at the moment, and he was probably moved by him, but the long-term betrayal made him unwilling to believe anyone again. Problem children and the like, just beat them up. Then come and convince people with virtue. After all, a gentleman is not serious, he is not powerful. How can I establish prestige without heavy hands? Facing Gaara who was galloping, looking at him who had already turned one hand into Shukaku's arm, Naruto did not hesitate at all and pulled back. Feel the fear from the firepower coverage. Naruto raised the corner of his mouth, all the fears come from the fear of insufficient firepower. Earth Escape Quicksand Strike. Naruto quickly formed 3 seals with both hands, and AB level ninjutsu was used. It was obviously a ninjutsu that Naruto had simplified. Gaara was shocked. Although he was in a state of rage, he was not without brains. With such a short seal, the opponent's strength was not weak. Gaara seemed even crazier, and the blood of the strong was even more boiling. Gaara raised the huge arm transformed by Shukaku, which had violet-like patterns on it. His eyes gradually changed, and he looked like a monster. There was even fine sand sliding down his arm, and the murderous intent that erupted from his body could scare a Jonin. The power of the tailed beast can make ordinary ninjas shudder. This is a power that is almost like a natural disaster. Naruto used Earth Escape to roll up a huge quicksand fist and hit Gaara. Gaara used the seemingly small arm of Shukaku, which actually contained powerful power. After all, it was the power of the tailed beast, which could not be ignored. Earth Style, Vortex Blast. In a flash, Naruto attacked Gaara again. The desert was full of sand and stones, which reduced Naruto's energy consumption several times. The sand and stones turned into desert vortices and rushed towards Gaara. Boom, boom, boom. A huge explosion sounded, and the sound waves formed hit the wall of the barrier without causing any ripples. Seeing that the attack hit the opponent, Naruto was not happy at all, because Gaara was wrapped in a thick ball of sand. The sand with chakra was harder than steel. Absolute protection. Naruto's mouth curled up slightly, revealing an interested look. Naruto knew that this was not Shukaku's power at all, but the power of Gaara's mother, Karura. What power could allow Karura's remaining power to protect Gaara all the time? It really interested Naruto. Since Naruto had the ability of God's reward for hard work, his research on ninjutsu has been unstoppable. Now seeing the power of unfamiliar ninjutsu, he is naturally very interested. Especially this unconscious automatic defense power. Although it looks magical, Naruto knows that this power should rely on Gaara's chakra. From the perspective of energy, this is reasonable. However, in the later period, Karura's remaining power took the initiative to form a huge sandman to protect Gaara, which still shocked Naruto. This woman is indeed very admirable. How to say it? Chakra is formed by human spiritual power and cell life energy, and the most sincere will in the heart is naturally explained by being imprinted in chakra. This is also the reason why Gaara's mother took the initiative to protect Gaara later. This mother, she loves Gaara deeply. Chapter 63. Naruto's attack was blocked by Gaara's absolute defense, and he couldn't help but smile. Gaara rushed forward even more frantically. Sand style. Desert funeral. In the desert, Gaara didn't need the aid of the gourd to perform his ninjutsu to the limit, because there were brown sand all around. The mud and sand began to move like a river. In such a scene, Gaara laughed, as if he was about to be happy and excited to see Naruto's blood. Gaara's face was full of madness at the moment. Naruto frowned at the crazy Gaara in front of him. Problem children and the like, just beat them up. Educate them well later. Gaara has fallen to where he is today, and it's all because of Luasha's cleverness. In the end, he was killed by Orochimaru. Even the people in his own ninja village don't know. It's really ridiculous. Big Ball Rasengan. Looking at the rushing river of mud and sand, Naruto directly fired a Big Ball Rasengan to meet it. The powerful force of the Rasengan directly shattered the entire river of mud and sand. The yellow sand in the sky instantly dispersed in the air, and the power in it had been defeated by Naruto. Gaara was a little dazed. He had hardly seen such a powerful force. Except for his father. The original crazy emotion was restrained a little in an instant, and he didn't even notice it. Gritting his teeth, Gaara mobilized the sand again, forming a big hand to grab Naruto. Naruto turned over and retreated, using a somersault to retreat dozens of meters away. Then he grinned and said, "Welcome to the baptism of artillery fire. Open black lens bracket fire style. Great dragon fire technique, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket fire style, flame pillar. It's not over yet, the wind helps the fire. Open black lens bracket wind style, big breakthrough, close black lens bracket." Naruto formed seals with one hand and instantly used two fire-style ninjutsu, one for high-altitude attack and one for ground attack. He formed seals with both hands again, and a strong wind appeared, and the fire became even more fierce. A dull feeling rose up. Gaara felt the pressure and directly formed three walls of sand to block in front of him. Naruto's attack was unstoppable and directly broke through Gaara's three walls of sand before stopping. Gaara just wanted to take a breath. Then he heard Naruto's voice. Earth style, quicksand vortex. Wind style, tornado, combined ninjutsu, quicksand hell. Naruto deliberately controlled the power. After all, Gaara was still too young now. One tail. Lend me your power, if I die you will definitely not live. Gaara roared. The one-tail Shukaku was also straightforward, without any more arguments, and directly gave his chakra to Gaara. Because the human in front of him had the smell of the stinky fox he hated. With Shukaku's chakra, Gaara launched the ninjutsu again, which was larger in scale and more powerful. However, when it came into contact with Naruto's ninjutsu, he found that it didn't seem as powerful as he imagined. While he breathed a sigh of relief, he showed a cruel expression, as long as the opponent was not as strong as he imagined. Sand Style, Desert Burial. With the blessing of Shukaku's chakra, Gaara was like a god. But Naruto's attacks came one after another, so many that his scalp numbed. Fire Style, Chain Fireball Technique. Art Fire Escape Ho Fireball. Lightning Release, Thunderbird. Lightning Release, Pseudo Darkness. Wind Style, Wind Cutting. Wind Style, Vacuum Wave. Quote ellipsis quote. Naruto did not use the combination ninjutsu again. After all, the power of the combination ninjutsu was too strong. It was not something that Gaara could resist now. Naruto felt the 5 cards of chakra disappearing from his body, and nodded with satisfaction. Well, this is a move that Kakashi can never afford to use. Naruto's moves were messy, purely for the purpose of showing off his ninjutsu. His clone had a total of 10,000 cards of chakra, of which Naruto himself provided 2,000 cards. The 9 tails alone, oh no. One-tailed beast provided 8,000 cards of chakra. 1 card of chakra is equivalent to the chakra of 1 Kakashi. In the original work, Naruto had hundreds of times more chakra than Kakashi, and this was because the remaining chakra was used to suppress the 9 tails. Now that there is no interference from the 9 tails, these chakras can naturally be used. At the same time, because of the reward for hard work, Naruto's chakra increased several times again, reaching the level of several thousand cards. If Kakashi knew, he would probably burst into tears. In fact, Kakashi has a lot of chakra, and most of it has been absorbed by the Sharingan. Otherwise, he would not have failed to break through to the cage level for so many years. In addition to his own decadence, the Sharingan has been absorbing his chakra. As the saying goes, success or failure is due to the Sharingan. Maybe Kakashi will be stronger without the Sharingan, but it is different. After all, when Kakashi was young, he was a super genius. The threshold of the cage level is not difficult for him. Even Guy opened the 8 gates and reached the cage level. Naruto's ninjutsu was all smashed down, explosions sounded, and the surroundings were suddenly shrouded in smoke. When the smoke dissipated, Gaara had actually used the technique of pretending to sleep. Wow, he directly let Shukaku resist the thunder. Naruto. I can't beat Shukaku now. Don't think that Shukaku is rubbish in the original work. The 9 tails has always used its tail to distinguish the strong from the weak. In fact, it can't stand Shukaku. And Shukaku's strength is not the weakest among the tailed beasts. Shukaku is the only one among the tailed beasts who can use ninjutsu. I don't know when he learned it. The other tailed beasts are too disdainful to learn human ninjutsu. Speaking of this, Naruto has to complain. Among all the tailed beasts, only the 9 tails' strength barely reaches the level of Super Shadow. The other tailed beasts are at the level of Shadow. Their chakra utilization and control are terribly low. Otherwise, with their chakra, they must be Super Shadow level. Usually, they only use a tailed beast ball that is equivalent to a talent skill. No wonder they are toyed with by humans. But in the eyes of ordinary ninjas, they are invincible. Even shadow-level powerhouses have a headache because the chakra of the tailed beasts is too huge. Ha ha ha. I'm finally out. Little brat, prepare to die, said the one-tailed Shukaku arrogantly. The long-lost sense of freedom made him feel great. A huge claw grabbed Naruto, and Naruto pulled back and continued to attack with ninjutsu. Shukaku's claws smashed on the ground, raising a huge cloud of dust. Kid, what is your relationship with that fox? Shukaku's voice was loud and rumbling. Want to know? Defeat me. Naruto teased. You are courting death, little brat. Feeling that he was being fooled, Shukaku was furious and started to use ninjutsu directly. Open black lens bracket wind style, air training bullet. Close black lens bracket. Naruto used earth style to dive deep into the ground. Shukaku smashed a big hole in the ground and Naruto got out again. "Hey, I'm fine, come again." Naruto continued to taunt. Shukaku grabbed Naruto with one claw, but missed. Naruto had already hidden underground again. He came out from another direction. "Hey, I'm fine, I'm just playing." Naruto came out again, which made Shukaku furious. He kept hitting Naruto. Naruto dodged Shukaku's attack again and again. "If he can't beat me, can't I dodge? Damn brat, if you dare to play tricks on me, I will tear you into pieces." Shukaku was furious, and a ball of black energy gradually began to take shape. It turned out to be the tailed beast ball. "No way. You can't afford to play with me." Naruto hid underground again, but still felt unsafe, so he continued to drill underground. "No, it's still not safe." Naruto dived in another direction again, sneaking a few hundred meters. Carrying out the way of hiding, it is my duty. Boom. The ground shook. Naruto felt it even though he was hundreds of meters away. It is worthy of being the tailed beast ball. "Sly kid, come out." Shukaku shouted loudly. Naruto didn't come out for a long time. He thought Naruto had been smashed into pieces by the tailed beast ball. Even if he hadn't, he would probably have been deformed and squeezed into a pancake by the ground. "Ha ha ha, this is what happens when you dare to play tricks on me." Shukaku's loud voice echoed in the barrier. Naruto, who had just returned, heard Shukaku's loud laughter and got out from behind him. "What are you laughing at?" Quote. Chapter 64. Shukaku turned around and looked at them, staring at each other for a moment. Naruto stood in the distance intact, staring at Shukaku with his big eyes. "Hey, dude, what were you talking about just now?" Naruto put his hand next to his ear, tilted his head, pretending not to hear what it said, looking particularly annoying. "Little brat, are you looking for death?" Shukaku was instantly furious, and the sand around him unconsciously rioted. It directly formed sand iron, and with Shukaku's huge body, Naruto suddenly felt like a sky full of yellow sand. "Oh my god, are they serious?" Shukaku has the ability of magnetic escape in Naruto's impression. At this moment, he mobilized a large amount of iron sand to hit Naruto. Whoosh! Naruto disappeared from the spot again, and the whole person escaped directly underground. He knew how powerful this was. Without Naruto, Shukaku was furious, and the storm around him became more and more violent. Shukaku kept releasing air training bullets to hit the surroundings, and even one bullet hit the barrier. The transparent barrier instantly revealed its traces and returned to its original state. Gaara was in a dozing state at the moment, as if all this had nothing to do with him. After Shukaku swept past, Naruto ran out again to taunt. His expression was as arrogant as he could be. "Hey, isn't this the one tail? Why is it so powerless and furious here?" Naruto had just finished speaking when the huge claws slapped down. Boom! Covered with a huge amount of chakra. The ground suddenly sank, and huge smoke and dust filled half of Shukaku's body, and Naruto disappeared again. The ground cracked, and the quicksand slowly flowed down, looking like a funnel. Shukaku's face became more and more hideous, and the violet flower pattern became more and more charming. A few minutes later, Shukaku was constantly venting. He didn't know why the little bug in front of him was so good at hiding. Once it disappeared, the chakra traces were almost imperceptible, and the position could not be confirmed at all. Shukaku began to mobilize chakra to stir the surrounding ground. A large amount of chakra penetrated into the ground, trying to pull Naruto out. What surprised him was that there was no trace of Naruto within 100 meters underground, and there was no breath of a person within a radius of hundreds of meters. Little did he know that Naruto had already escaped to a place thousands of meters away. After Naruto's continuous improvement of the earth escape technique, it was not only fast, but also greatly enhanced the depth of escape. It's just that the air underground is scarce, so you need to breathe from time to time, or directly use the earth escape technique to open a small passage leading to the ground. After Shukaku finished venting, Naruto came out again and taunted Shukaku, "The big cat in front, didn't you eat?" "Oh, it seems that you don't need to eat either." Naruto taunted in a very jumpy way. If Naruto's real body was here, he would definitely not say this. Who knew that the shadow clone was fine when it came out, but now it has let itself go. "You little brat, you have completely pissed me off." Shukaku's murderous intent continued to rise, and the tailed beast ball condensed again. "I say, One Tail, your chakra control is not that good. Isn't it just rolling a ball? You act like no one can do it." After saying that, Naruto immediately performed a ball rolling. "This is a small meatball, this is a big meatball, and this is a braised meatball, this is a flat meatball, and this is a meatball skewer." Rasengan began to appear in Naruto's hand, including a large Rasengan, a Houyan Rasengan infused with fire attribute chakra, a Rasengan that changed its form into a flat shape, and a row of Rasengan in his hand. Naruto's attitude made Shukaku even more angry, and even the tailed beast ball was blessed to a great extent. After Naruto showed off, he disappeared again. Two people. No, it should be said that one person and one tailed beast. After tossing for several hours, even the sky was a little bright, but this had nothing to do with Gaara. He finally got a good night's sleep. Ellipsis. "Little brat, I'm going to use my ultimate move." Shukaku's rumbling voice came, and Naruto's heart froze. Could it be that he has some other moves that I don't know? "I won't accompany you anymore. Goodbye, little brat." Naruto was dumbfounded. Shukaku threw a ball of sand at Gaara, who woke up and was shocked by the scene in front of him. There were traces of ninjutsu attacks all around him. And Naruto's figure in front of him was intact. Could it be that the One Tail couldn't do anything to him? It's unethical. Naruto was a little exasperated when he saw Shukaku's unethical way. Shukaku, who returned to Gaara's body, laughed. "You never thought, little brat, I fooled you, right? I told you not to fool me." Although he was fooled, Shukaku was still a little happy. After all, he finally got out of the body. It was like a vent, and no one stopped me. It was better than being trapped in a cage. Gaara looked at the scene in front of him, and he felt comfortable for no reason. He hadn't had such a rest for a long time. Naruto gradually recovered at this time. He almost played too much and forgot about the business. Naruto came back to his senses and looked at Gaara calmly. At this moment, Gaara was also looking at Naruto with a fearful look. The guy who couldn't even do anything to the One Tail must be not simple. Naruto looked at the vigilant red panda in front of him. As expected, if he didn't convince others with virtue, the other party would not listen to him. "Gaara, I have no intention of being your enemy. We are all the same kind of people, both Jinchuriki. We should help each other, right?" Naruto said slowly. He lied. He is not the Nine Tails Jinchuriki at all. He is just a guy who got the Nine Tails power. Shukaku's voice was in Gaara's mind, and Gaara, who thought Naruto was right, reacted instantly. "You lied. You are not the Nine Tails Jinchuriki at all. What is your purpose?" Gaara's dull voice sounding a little excited, more like he was dissatisfied with Naruto's deception. Naruto was slightly stunned. He frowned, then thought of the one-tailed Shukaku, and then he was relieved. Did the one-tailed Shukaku sense that there was no nine-tailed fox in his body? "You misunderstood. I am the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Naruto. What's in front of you now is just one of my shadow clones," Naruto explained. But in return, Gaara looked at him as if he was a fool, as if to say, "Have you ever seen such a perverted shadow clone?" "Gaara, I know you don't believe me, so I'll prove it to you." Naruto took off his upper body, and there were several seals on it. Release. Naruto removed the seal, but it was not over yet. Naruto started to make hand seals and slightly change the technique of constructing the character in the shadow clone. Naruto's upper body turned into a translucent chakra aggregation similar to the form of Susanoo. Gaara was shocked. The person in front of him was actually a shadow clone, or a chakra aggregation. But the amount of chakra was too terrifying. What kind of shadow clone was this? Not only Gaara, but even Shukaku in Gaara's body was shocked. A shadow clone actually entangled with it for so long. Isn't it easy for a shadow clone to dissipate? Chapter 65. This time, not only Gaara, but even Shukaku believed Naruto a little. Naruto changed back to his original form and sealed himself again. It is not difficult to show the chakra appearance of the shadow clone. Others' shadow clones may be just a shallow empty shell, but Naruto's shadow clone is a collection filled with chakra. All he needs to do is change the way the chakra of the anthropomorphic form is running. It is very simple for Naruto. Gaara, we are not enemies, we can be the same kind, partners. Naruto continued, his tone full of sincerity. Life is not all gloomy. The world is not all sand village. Gaara, you are not without meaning to exist. Naruto knows that if he wants to recruit Gaara, he must appeal to his emotions and courtesy. And Gaara is an important part of Naruto's mastery of the Kingdom of Wind in the future. As long as Gaara succeeds in becoming the Wind Shadow as originally estimated, then Sand Village will basically be in his pocket. And now the most important thing is to open Gaara's heart and pull Gaara out of the darkness. Naruto knows very well that people like Gaara who seek the meaning of their existence by killing people are actually very eager to be recognized by others. He is no different from others, but he is forced into this by life and rasa. What Naruto has to do is to become the light that can pierce the darkness in Gaara's heart. And Naruto also hopes to redeem Gaara. Ellipsis. Konoha Village, Ninja School. Naruto was flirting with Hinata as usual, and he didn't know the progress of Naruto's clone yet, but the clone didn't dissipate, probably nothing went wrong. Naruto smiled and touched Hinata's head. Hinata blushed, and his other hand accidentally touched Hinata's arm. Hiss tilde. Hinata subconsciously took a breath. Naruto frowned, and said, Hinata, what's wrong? Naruto-kun, it's okay. Hinata said softly with a ruddy face. Naruto gently grabbed Hinata's hand and lifted her sleeve. The scene he saw afterwards made Naruto frown, and an unknown anger rushed to his heart. Hinata's arm was bruised and swollen in several places. It looked like someone else had beaten her, very similar to the acupuncture of the Hyuga family. Then Naruto thought about it and understood the cause and effect. It was likely that she was injured when fighting with someone in the family. In the Hyuga family, there was probably no one else who could attack Hinata, the heir of the main family, and beat her like this. Except for Hinata's father Hyuga Hiyashi and Hyuga Hanabi, there was probably no one else. Hinata, tell me who did it. Naruto's expression was serious and cold, which scared Hinata, but she could still hear the concern in Naruto's tone, which showed that Naruto cared about her very much, and her heart was slightly warmed. It's okay, Naruto-kun. I did it by accident. Seeing Hinata's expression, Naruto was a little helpless. Hinata, if you don't tell me, I won't be able to eat or sleep well, and I'll think about it every day, please tell me. Naruto pretended to be pitiful, because he knew that only in this way would Hinata be able to tell the truth. Ah, don't. I got hurt when Hanabi and I were sparring. Hinata told Naruto everything, including the fact that she lost to Hanabi. Naruto gently stroked Hinata's little head and said, Hinata, can't you bear to hurt your sister? Hinata looked at Naruto's sunny face and nodded. Naruto saw Hinata nod, and knew that Hanabi should be a little over 5 years old now. Even if Hinata's strength is weak now, she should be able to fight to a draw. But with Hinata's character, she certainly can't bear to hurt a younger sister. This is basically fatal in a large family, especially as the heir to the main family. Naruto took a look and pulled Hinata out. Then he used the shadow clone and used the transformation technique to turn into Hinata's appearance. Then he pulled Naruto out of the ninja school. Naruto-kun, it's not good for us to skip class like this, right? Hinata whispered, looking at the hand held by Naruto. Her fair neck suddenly turned pink. In the past, she would have fainted directly, but after such a long time, Hinata was much more immune to it. It's okay. Haven't you mastered most of the content in these classes? Besides, I've used a shadow clone to attend the class in your place, so no one will notice. Hinata, we are already so familiar with each other, you should just call me Naruto from now on. It's always Naruto-kun Naruto-kun, I think it's a bit strange. Okay, Naruto-kun, ellipsis quote. Okay, Naruto, ellipsis quote. That's right. Naruto happily took Hinata's hand and rushed to the place where they usually trained. The simple secret base at that time has changed at this moment, and even the small cave at that time has become a built-in house with several rooms. It is the place where Naruto and his friends rest. Sometimes Neji will stay here overnight. He is really too hard for training, and Xiaoli is also. Hinata looked around curiously. It seems like a secret base. Come here, I'll treat you. The two came to a lawn, and Naruto used the palm fairy technique to treat Hinata. There are medical ninjutsu in Danzo's collection scrolls, and because of the biological experiments, medical ninjas are the key, so there are many books on medical treatment. Green light appeared, and Hinata's injuries healed quickly. Hinata stared at Naruto while he was treating her. Naruto was particularly handsome today, and Hinata seemed to hear her own heartbeat. Ellipsis. Land of Wind, outside of Sand Village. Naruto was still introducing it to Gaara, and Gaara suddenly wanted to see the life that Naruto was talking about. As the head of the organization, Naruto's words about the leader were also polished to a certain extent. Although Naruto did not do it deliberately, he continued to improve when teaching Shisui. At this moment, something called leadership temperament emerged spontaneously, which was convincing. I love Luo, this world is chaotic, it is bad, even people are bad. I hope to change it, make the mountains and rivers beautiful, let the sun shine on the earth. Gaara, we are unfortunate, but we can help more people like us escape from the sea of suffering. We can help people in the ninja world no longer distinguish between countries. Let the people of the wind country go to see the sea, the people of the fire country can see the oasis, and the people of the earth country can see the beautiful plains. Let everyone be able to go anywhere at will. The ninja world is corrupt and dark, but we are bright and shining. Gaara, I need you. Naruto's words were like a dimensionality reduction blow to the love-starved little panda in front of him. No one had ever said that they needed him. No one had ever said that he could live a wonderful life. No one had ever said that he could be loved by others. Gaara's tears instantly welled up in his eyes, and he cried, "Can someone like me be needed?" Naruto hooked his hand around the back of Gaara's head, and their foreheads were pressed tightly together. Gaara, look at me, I need you. The world needs you too. Naruto grinned, revealing his white teeth, confident and calm. This was a smile Gaara had never seen before. He was used to fear, disgust and disgust. This smile became the only one, the light in his heart. Chapter 66. Next to the grove. Naruto carefully used medical ninjutsu to recover all of Hinata's injuries. Then he looked at Hinata with heartache. Naruto actually did not recommend this girl in front of him to become a ninja, or to be more precise, he did not recommend her to become a ninja who specializes in combat. This is why Naruto has no plans to improve Hinata's strength for the time being. In this world, Naruto feels that it is more about diversifying power rather than becoming a killing weapon alone. This is simply a cruel thing for a girl who is naturally kind. But now, the girl he cherishes has been hurt. And they are her family members. He can't just rush to Hyuga to beat up Hyuga Hiyashi and his sister-in-law. Besides, wouldn't that expose him? After thinking it over and over again, Naruto felt that Hinata should still have a certain amount of power. After all, he couldn't stay with Hinata forever. So he took Hinata's hand, as if he didn't see Hinata's flushed face. Hinata felt that she was about to faint, and sweat began to appear on her head. Hinata, I know you don't want to hurt Hanabi, but you can't do this. As the heir to the main family, you must have a certain strength. Naruto spoke slowly. For a big family like the Hyuga, his daughter is indeed cowardly and timid. She can't even fight as well as her sister Hanabi, who is 5 years younger than her. This is why Hyuga Hiyashi is so strict. Some elders in the main family put pressure on her, and there were even rumors of reselecting the heir to the main family, but these news were circulated within the main family. Naruto has a general understanding of the Hyuga, and he learned more from the original work. However, no matter how much Hyuga Hiyashi bears, this is not a reason for Hinata to be bullied. Should the responsibility of the family really be placed on Hinata? You know, Hinata is only 10 years old now. Hinata listened to Naruto's words, and her eyes couldn't help but turn red. He thought of his father, who also emphasized her identity as the heir to the main family. Strength is a must, at least not too weak. Seeing that Hinata's tears were about to fall, Naruto hurriedly said, "Don't cry, Hinata, I don't mean that. What I mean is, let me help you practice in the future. Hinata, you are not bad in talent, but you are kind-hearted. I know fighting and killing may not be suitable for you, but sometimes, strength can also be used to protect the people you love. Just like I want to protect you." Naruto said with a smile, and Hinata's slightly sad heart suddenly became lively, but Naruto's words made her face red again. "Well, I also want to protect you, Naruto," Hinata whispered, and Naruto could hardly hear what Hinata said. "Hinata, strength is not just for fighting and killing, sometimes it can be transformed into the power of protection. Ninjas don't necessarily have to go to the battlefield to kill enemies, the power of ninjas can also be used to benefit the people. It's just that people now have a qualitative thinking about the profession of ninja. You may not understand these, but ninjutsu comes from life, from fighting, and from thinking." Naruto's words are indeed difficult for Hinata to understand, and even a shock. Don't ninjas exist just to kill people? This is the inertial thinking of most ninjas in the ninja world. Ordinary people pay remuneration in exchange for the protection of ninjas, and ninjas protect ordinary people. The daimyo is in charge of politics, and the ninjas are in charge of fighting. The daimyo maintains the needs of the ninjas, so military expenses are distributed, and at the same time, the ninjas complete tasks and earn money. This is the one country, one village system. In theory, the shadow and the daimyo should be at the same level, but because the daimyo controls the economic lifeline, the status of the daimyo is slightly higher. From the fact that the shadow needs to be reported to the daimyo, although it is just a situation, it can be seen that the status of the daimyo is a little higher. You may not understand now, it doesn't matter. Naruto touched Hinata's head again and added, "But I will train you in the future. You will understand that the power of protection is the most powerful. Isn't it?" If anyone dares to hit Hinata, Naruto doesn't mind releasing the 9 tails and let him experience what it means to be a man relying on the power of a fox. Human-shaped cannon. The truth is only within the range of the cannon. The two of them stopped talking and snuggled up to each other warmly. The sun shone on them, and they looked so peaceful. Time passed slowly. Ellipsis. "Good morning, Naruto, Miss Hinata. Why are you here?" Suddenly a voice sounded, full of shock. "Oh, brother-in-law, you are here." Ellipsis quote. Neji knew that Naruto and Hinata had a good relationship, but he never thought that Hinata would skip classes to date Naruto. But then he showed a knowing smile. If an ordinary person dared to harass Hinata, Neji would definitely beat him up so that he couldn't take care of himself. If this person was Naruto, Neji would definitely agree with it. "Okay, since you are here, I will not waste my words. You can come and train with Hinata today. You probably know Hinata's situation in Hyuga. Hinata's personality is not suitable for fighting and killing." Ninki looked at Naruto in surprise. Hinata's personality is not only not suitable for fighting and killing, to put it bluntly, it is, a bit cowardly. Although Ninki felt that it was not good to frame Hinata in his heart, it was indeed the truth. "Ninki, I know, but I can't just watch Hinata get bullied. You help me teach her for a few days, and then I'll be able to improve Hinata's strength. And don't hurt Hinata, or you'll know what will happen. Naruto knew what Nechi was thinking when he saw his expression, and after saying a few words, he put his hands together at the same time, and the knuckles made a crackling sound. Nechi swallowed and nodded, because he knew how hard Naruto's fists were. Hinata, you have to know that sometimes learning ninjutsu and taijutsu is not to hurt anyone, but to prevent more people from getting hurt, understand? I may get hurt in the future, and I need you to protect me, Hinata. Naruto knew that if he wanted Hinata's strength to improve, he had to change Hinata's mind first, and let her understand that strength is not just a tool to hurt others, but can also be used to protect the people she loves. Yeah, Naruto, I will study hard. Hinata nodded, and a strange emotion arose in her heart. No one had ever told her that strength could be used to protect others. All she had heard was that as the heir of the main family, she should shoulder the responsibility of the main family and not let people down. Strength is everything, you are so disappointing. Hinata always heard scolding, harshness and a lot of demands, and no one ever considered her feelings. Only Naruto really cared about her, and tears welled up in her eyes for a moment. Ellipsis. Little cat, you won't look good if you keep crying. I won't like you if your face is all red from crying. Naruto said jokingly. Ah, then, who does Naruto-kun like? Seeing Hinata like this, Naruto was a little amused. Little idiot, I was just joking. Naruto explained, and Hinata started laughing again. Chapter 67. Ninki, Hinata is now in your care. Hinata's foundation in taijutsu is too poor. Please help her train again. Naruto had practiced taijutsu in his early days. Basic taijutsu had already formed a theory. There were still too few taijutsu practitioners nowadays. Relatively speaking, they were a bit too crude. Even some taijutsu from big families seemed too simple for Naruto. Ninki nodded. Naruto, is there really a way to improve Miss Hinata's strength in a short period of time? Ninji said, and it was obvious that he had remembered what Naruto had just said. Naruto was stunned, then said, it's true, but it may not be suitable for you. You can learn it when the time comes. Naruto naturally has a way to improve Hinata's strength. As long as Hinata's mentality changes and she is no longer so afraid of power, she can naturally improve her strength. The way Naruto thought of was that the others were too fierce, so Naruto thought of an ability that was very suitable for Hinata. That is Tai Chi. Tai Chi is very suitable for Hinata, and it is somewhat similar to the concept of the main family. The boxing in Konoha is roughly divided into steel fist flow and soft fist flow. The soft fist is represented by the Hyuga, and the steel fist flow can be reflected in Might Guy. The soft fist mainly relies on acupuncture to block the enemy's chakra, and sees through the chakra meridians through the white eyes, so it belongs to the exclusive boxing of the Hyuga clan. And because the soft fist is suitable for combat, it is actually mainly based on killing, soft with hardness, but it is too hard. Tai Chi, on the other hand, pays attention to the combination of hardness and softness, using stillness to control movement, although moving, it is still still. Tai Chi is originally infinite, giving birth to all things, and it is more of a health concept. But don't think that Tai Chi boxing has weak actual combat ability. While Tai Chi is hard with softness, soft with hardness, and hardness and softness are combined. How can the concept of it be compared with the soft fist of the Hyuga clan? Naruto feels that if the people of the Hyuga clan get Tai Chi, they may be able to develop more powerful soft fist moves. Tai Chi is a dimensionality reduction attack for soft fist. Tai Chi is a systematic school, and there were many schools in Naruto's previous life. Naruto didn't know whether Tai Chi could be used in actual combat in his previous life, but in this world with extraordinary power. With the blessing of chakra, Tai Chi will burst out with terrifying power. Naruto plans to refine the Tai Chi he knows and form a ninja version of Tai Chi, and Tai Chi is almost equivalent to a method of practicing a ninjutsu. In the following days, Naruto started practicing Tai Chi every day. After practicing, Naruto found that Tai Chi is really not that simple. The artistic conception is vast and boundless. However, with the help of God's reward for hard work, it is like God's help. Open black lens bracket Tai Chi concept +5, Tai Chi +8, balance +1, close black lens bracket. Since Hinata was convinced by Naruto's idea that strength can also be protection, she has gradually started to pay attention to training, because she wants to protect Naruto, not just be a vase. As she followed Neji to re-examine the basics of physical skills, she found that this seemingly simple physical skill foundation is actually very complicated. As the daughter of Hyuga Hiyashi, she still has some vision. This surprised him a little. From Neji's explanation, he knew that these were all summed up by Naruto. Well, Naruto is indeed a genius. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. In Hinata's eyes, nothing Naruto does is strange. Ellipsis. Open black lens bracket Tai Chi breathing method +5, Tai Chi +1 close black lens bracket. These days, with the help of God's reward for hard work, Naruto has been madly brushing up his Tai Chi proficiency. Even some concepts that he doesn't understand will suddenly become clear in the inspiration of God's reward for hard work. As for bottlenecks, with the help of God's reward for hard work, Naruto has no bottlenecks. Open black lens bracket Tai Chi +1 lifespan +0.01. It seems like something strange has been mixed in. Lifespan. Practicing Tai Chi still increases lifespan. Naruto was surprised, but when he thought about the fact that Tai Chi has the ability to maintain health, plus the blessing of God rewards hard work, it seemed to be commonplace. In Tai Chi, the most important thing is to exert force and breathing method. It is not difficult to exert force. With Naruto's physical attainments and God rewards hard work, he has already practiced it. However, what Naruto lacks is the breathing method, but he still got the blessing of God rewards hard work deliberately. Naruto invented a breathing method himself. The help of God rewards hard work is indispensable. Stirring up chakra with a special frequency can slowly improve physical fitness. It is not as rough as the steel fist flow, but it will not leave any hidden injuries. And the more he studied, Naruto found that there seemed to be an inexplicable energy from the outside world that would slowly flow into the body to temper the body. The number is as rare as silk thread. The advantage is that it flows slowly. Naruto suspects it is natural energy. Naruto is still not very clear about why Tai Chi breathing method can attract natural energy. It may be that Tai Chi implies the beginning of heaven and earth, and emphasizes that heaven follows earth, and earth follows heaven. Leverage the power of heaven and earth. Unity of heaven and man. Tao follows nature. This is very similar to the immortal cultivation methods that Naruto saw in his previous life. And these natural energies are similar to the energy of heaven and earth. Unexpectedly, there are unexpected gains, which makes Naruto a little happy. Naruto feels that he has made rapid progress, but in the eyes of Neji and Hinata, Naruto is just a slow boxing, and there is no power at all. If you say this is a soft fist, he admits it. It is even softer than their Hyuga soft fist. Can this have offensive power? Can such a slow fist hit people? Naruto, does your boxing style really work? Neji asked hesitantly. Hinata was also a little confused, but she chose to believe Naruto. Naruto must have his own ideas. Maybe she couldn't understand. Ninki, how many times have I told you, this is Tai Chi? If you think you can't do it, then come and practice with me. Naruto also knew that Neji and the others were puzzled. In addition to the training during this period, Naruto also wanted to find an experimental subject. Isn't Neji walking into trouble? Neji, you are still too young. Come on. Ninki also wanted to see where Naruto's boxing skills were strong. Remember to focus on strength, relax your body, and concentrate your spirit. Naruto directly faced Neji with his starting stance. Neji also used his soft fist stance. 8 trigrams chain palm. Neji attacked Naruto directly, and Naruto hadn't moved at all at this moment. Neji didn't relax at all. Although he didn't know Tai Chi, he never underestimated Naruto. When Neji was about to reach Naruto, Naruto moved. Left and right, hold the bird's tail. Raise your hands forward to form a circle, and use your strength in your palms. Press your hands to exert force on the back of your hands, and press your hands to exert force on your waist. Ninki frowned, and suddenly felt that all the flaws around Naruto disappeared. He changed direction and attacked Naruto again, and Naruto actually stuck to him. Watch out, Hinata. Naruto kept sticking to Nechi, and while he was moving around, Nechi had no place to use his strength. A little force can defeat a great force. Neji launched a large number of attacks, but he didn't gain the upper hand at all. The two of them responded with only moves, without using any extraordinary strength. White crane spreads its wings. Double peaks pierce the ears, left leg kick. Tai Chi cloud hands. Quote ellipsis ellipsis quote. During the struggle, Naruto kept showing Hinata his moves, which made Hinata's eyes brighter and brighter. And Neji was also shocked by the exquisiteness of this set of boxing techniques. This is the most powerful soft fist. Chapter 68. Naruto carefully displayed his moves in front of Hinata, keeping his strength at a level similar to that of Nechi. However, even so, Nechi was still at a disadvantage, and he became more and more frightened as the fight went on. Although Naruto's movements were slow, he was always able to strike back first, and the constant fighting made him feel as if he was stuck in a quagmire. Nechi estimated that if Naruto hadn't wanted to practice his moves on Hinata, he would have been defeated long ago. Nechi felt extremely aggrieved, and if he hadn't seen Naruto trying to pass the moves to Hinata, Nechi would have admitted defeat long ago. He had never experienced such a frustrating battle before. But he still cooperated with Naruto and practiced it to the end. Okay, that's all the moves. Naruto said to Hinata, and Neji was relieved because Naruto also stopped. It was really uncomfortable to feel that his body was not his own, and he was completely caught up in Naruto's rhythm. Naruto, this is the Tai Chi you mentioned. This feels too badass. Ningji said in shock. Ninki, Tai Chi is about using the opponent's force to counterattack. 1 gives birth to 2, 2 gives birth to 3, and 3 gives birth to all things. It contains the most basic meaning of yin and yang, the foundation of all things. Compared to the soft fist of your Hyuga family, Tai Chi is the real soft fist. The Hyuga soft fist is really soft with strength, but it is too strong. As for Tai Chi, you should feel its power, but because I showed it to Hinata, I didn't show its killer moves too clearly. Naruto spoke slowly, and told the two people the concept of Tai Chi in a simple way. Tai Chi is divided into yin and yang. Yin is soft and yang is hard. Nature is a combination of hardness and softness, complementing each other. Tai Chi contains the changes of all things and the principles of the 8 diagrams. The changes are endless. What degree it will reach in the end depends entirely on you. Even I don't know where its limit is. Hinata and Nechi looked at each other. Neither of them was stupid. Nechi was able to rely on his own comprehension of the secret of the main family, the soft fist method to turn the tide. Naturally, his comprehension is very strong. In Naruto's explanation, fragments kept flashing through his mind, and his understanding of the principles of the 8 diagrams increased rapidly. The original 8 diagrams' 64 palms felt that there were still many loopholes. Looking at Ninki, who was thoughtful, Naruto nodded. He was worthy of being Ninki. He understood the concept of Tai Chi so quickly. He deserves the title of genius. But I have a cheat. After a moment, Ninki raised his head again and said, Naruto, to what extent can this complete one be achieved? You mean the attack after combining chakra? Watch out. Naruto slowly began to make a gesture, and an invisible wind surrounded Naruto. The blue chakra slowly covered Naruto's body, and in a moment Naruto moved, and the chakra around him began to become violent, but it was extremely stable. A powerful momentum came out of Naruto's body. Open black lens bracket ninja Tai Chi +5, close black lens bracket. As Naruto moved, Heaven Rewards hard work was activated again, providing Naruto with strength every moment. As Naruto moved, a palm of chakra came out of his body, easily destroying the big tree in the distance, and the leaves rustled. Is this a ninjutsu? The slow and quiet movements before didn't look very good, but now after adding chakra and the operation method, it actually burst out with such a strong power. This is the soft fist secret that is stronger than the main family secret technique. Although Neji was shocked, he still suppressed the excitement in his heart and continued to watch. Naruto's next move shocked Neji even more. He seemed to see the rotation of the 4 seasons and the birth of the world. Hinata's eyes were also full of brilliance. Yin and Yang converged, and the 8 trigrams grew. A Yin and Yang 8 trigrams pattern appeared, forming a strong airflow. What is this? Ningji opened his mouth in shock and could not help but step back. This is the secret of Tai Chi. Tai Chi domain. In the Tai Chi domain, defense is unparalleled, and the invincible method of close combat protection. The rhythm is in my hands. No one of the same level can break the Bagua domain. Naruto's voice sounded, and at this moment, Naruto's mind rang wildly, and Naruto seemed to be in enlightenment at this moment. Open black lens bracket Tai Chi domain +3, Tai Chi domain +5, Tai Chi boxing +4, Tai Chi concept +25, close black lens bracket. Naruto's mind was filled with inspiration, and the accompanying artistic conception attracted the 2 people who were watching from the side. Their comprehension of Tai Chi was just like eating and drinking water. As for how much they could absorb, it all depended on their comprehension. Ellipsis. The distant kingdom of wind. Naruto's clone has been teaching Gaara here for half a month. Naruto wants to take Gaara as his younger brother and then control the entire sand village. Naturally, he will not be so careless. Gaara still lacks a lot, not only strength, but also ideas. After half a month of the influence of the red thought, Gaara admires Naruto even more. Naruto actually wants to completely reform the ninja world. He wants to unify all countries and achieve great unification. He even secretly began to develop and lay out the ninja world. He estimated that what Naruto told him was only part of it. In fact, it is true. In Naruto's teaching, Naruto must first change his character, and then begin to accumulate strength, and must not expose his true strength. Naruto's real positioning for Gaara is to fully control the Sand Village after the Konoha collapse plan. Compared to Gaara's official popularity in Shippuden, Naruto is ready to advance 3 years. This is a big country. Compared with the 5 major countries, it is the best country to attack. After all, the current Sand Village is in a period of transition and only has 1 Luasha to support it. Chio and others are old. And now he is also in a semi-retired state. A few years later, Gaara will be the highest combat force in the Sand Village. With the help of Naruto's forces, it will not be difficult for Gaara to secure the position of Wind Shadow. Naruto has seen the industry of the 7-colored Chamber of Commerce in the Sand Village, and the industrial chain that has gradually formed. If Gaara does not become the Wind Shadow in the end according to the original work, the worst-case scenario is to cut off the source of funds and withdraw the 7-colored Chamber of Commerce. And that part of the people in the Wind Country will be unemployed. Under the mobilization of public anger, there is no reason why Gaara cannot become the Wind Shadow. The original work has become it, and it would be strange if he still cannot become it with the help of Naruto. What makes Naruto most comfortable is that Gaara really has potential in this area and can draw inferences from one example. It's just that he has never been exposed to this knowledge before. In order to prevent Gaara's changes from being abrupt, Naruto also designed a route of change for Gaara, so that people can gradually get used to Gaara's changes and begin to control the Sand Village little by little. And in order for Gaara's strength to grow steadily, Naruto made a deal with Shukaku. At first Shukaku was reluctant, but Naruto just whispered the names of the 9-tailed beasts, and the deal was done. The main thing was to prevent Shukaku from competing with Gaara for control of the body, and to lend chakra to Gaara when necessary. For this, Naruto promised to set Shukaku free in 10 years. Chapter 69. Shukaku didn't believe everything Naruto said, because he saw that Naruto seemed to value Gaara very much. Moreover, the tailed beast separated from the body of the Jinchuriki at the cost of the Jinchuriki's life. What made Shukaku really believe in Naruto was that Naruto casually called out the names of the tailed beasts, which made his thoughts begin to diverge. The boy with blue eyes shouted the names of the 9 tailed beasts playfully. He will bring changes to the world and bring peace to the world. The two people overlapped inexplicably, and Shukaku was silent for a rare time. Naruto smiled lightly. He knew Shukaku would agree. Over the years, he has reached a high level of grasp of people's hearts, even if the other party is just a tailed beast. But he has wisdom. What made Naruto happy was that Gaara could actually use magnetic escape, which was a surprising thing. Why didn't it show it in the original work? Then Naruto got the answer from Gaara's answer. It's funny to say that the reason was actually Rasa. Rasa keeps sending people to assassinate Gaara. In his heart, this is not his father, and therefore Gaara is unwilling to use the magnetic escape technique inherited from Rasa. Here is an explanation. Gaara is set to have magnetic escape technique. The official Gaara secret technique has it, but the orthodox one should not have it. The reason why it is set here is to enhance Gaara's strength. I hope everyone understands. Gaara, this power is yours. It doesn't matter who owns it. Power has nothing to do with right or wrong, but it depends on the person who uses it. Luo Sha is not a qualified father, but you still have me, and in the future there will be more people who will become partners of Remember. And strength is used to protect partners and achieve our goals. You don't owe him anything, so feel free to use the power of magnetic escape. It will be of greater use in the future. Naruto added, if possible, please ask Shukaku to help Gaara develop the power of magnetic escape. Naruto used honorifics for Shukaku, which made Shukaku feel quite comfortable. Their tailed beasts also have names, not one tail, two tail or something like that, which is simply unpleasant. Naruto's mystery, plus the fact that Naruto can call out the names of their tailed beasts, and Naruto promised them freedom, made it have a preliminary sense of identity with Naruto. Humph. I know, don't forget your promise, kid. Shukaku's voice sounded in Gaara's consciousness space, and was also conveyed to Naruto through Gaara. Old man Ludao, could he be that young boy? In Gaara's consciousness, Shukaku's eyes were blurred and he murmured. Ellipsis. Naruto is still carrying out his plan, while Shisui is also developing rapidly. The existence of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce has brought benefits to most civilians. At the same time, it has offended most of the nobles, and even touched the interests of some ministers of the country and even daimyo. Facing these people, Shisui will not take soft means. As long as he finds that these people are plundering the people's fat and blood, and even have many sins in secret, Shisui will use illusions to forcibly control these people. There are also many friendly people among the nobles, and there are not many acts of oppressing civilians. For these, Shisui will even take the initiative to cooperate with them and give them opportunities. Although they want to change the world, they are not irrational and hostile to the world. The Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce is in the light, and the Umbrella Organization is in the dark, and it is madly absorbing members. Each level represents different levels of talents, and it covers the whole world, not just ninjas. Sometimes high-end ordinary people, such as scientific and technological talents, are more important than ordinary ninjas. With the Kurigakure taking the blame, the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce is in its heyday, and the Umbrella Organization has been greatly developed. However, as long as it exists, people will eventually find traces of its existence. For example, a fat sheep who likes gambling. Ellipsis. Tansho Street. A blonde loli is drinking, but her body is extremely hot, a legal loli. The chariot on her chest makes most people feel ashamed. At this moment, she is already drunk. Lady Tsunade, please drink less, we have no money. The speaker was an adult woman in a fishnet outfit, who looked slim and graceful, with skin as tender as water. At this moment, she said helplessly to the hot loli in front of her. Yes, the loli in front of her was Tsunade. Half an hour ago, Tsunade became like this in order to avoid gambling debts, but only her face changed, her figure was still there, and the one holding the piglet beside her was naturally Shizune. Shizune, you drink too, this wine is really good. How did the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce develop such delicious wine? Drink, drink, ha 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 drink. Tsunade blushed as she looked at Shizune in front of her. Shizune, how did you become two? Shizune in front of Tsunade suddenly became a huge figure, dazzling. Ha, ha, ha. Tsunade suddenly fell down, and even the transformation technique could not be maintained. Hey, there's really nothing I can do. Shizune looked at Tsunade helplessly. Come on, the big fat sheep is here. At this time, someone suddenly shouted outside the tavern. As the man shouted, the outside soon became restless. Shizune picked up Tsunade and disappeared the next moment. In the early morning of the rising sun, the breeze blew the yellow leaves, bringing the late autumn. Tsunade woke up with her head covered. What caught her eyes were the fallen sycamore leaves outside the window, scattered all over the ground. Looking around, it was obviously a country house. Tsunade vaguely remembered what happened last night, and then thought of the good wine last night, and couldn't help licking her lips. Looking into the distance, there was a group of people gathered, and I don't know what they were doing, even Shizune was there. Tsunade got up curiously and walked over there. When she got a little closer, Tsunade finally heard what was being said inside. Villagers, you can send your children to our umbrella school to study for free. The adults said that studying is the way out. Those who perform well can be selected as ninjas. Even if you don't have one, you can still learn a skill and you won't have to worry about making a living in the future. The speaker is Shingo Tanaka. My name is Shingo Tanaka, an ordinary person who almost died. A man named Zabuza saved me. He looked very fierce. He told me that he was from Umbrella. He taught me the meaning of life and gave me a new life. Lord Zabuza said that it was not him who saved me, but another adult. You can call him the Lord of Truth, the Source of Hope, or the Leader. The code name of the leader is Ming. And he handed him a book. The name of the book is Red Thought. The content of the book shocked him and made him find the meaning of life. After being recommended by Lord Zabuza, he came to Umbrella and became an Indigo level member. Finally, after training, he chose to become a messenger to spread ideas for the villagers. Because he wanted more people to be saved, there was a kind of high-yield food in the organization. His contribution could be exchanged for some points, which could also be used to exchange for materials, and could also be used to upgrade the level. After a year, because of his enlightenment and contribution, he became a more glorious member of the Blue Organization. He liked this job very much. He traveled among the villages, taught the villagers to read, provided convenience for the villagers, and spread the red thought at the same time. Chapter 70. Tsunade was mixed in the crowd, but she was not too conspicuous, because everyone present focused their attention on Tanaka Shingo, and was obviously attracted by everything Tanaka Shingo said. Only Shizune noticed Tsunade's arrival, and was signaled by Tsunade with her eyes not to say anything. The two continued to listen to what Tanaka Shingo said. For those who perform well, the organization will give you many benefits and even help you build a more beautiful house. You will have a house and you will have money. As long as you work hard and contribute to the organization, one day you will live in a big house of your own. Remember the tycoon Gen Hoshino. You can also live in the same luxurious house as him. Tanaka Shingo became more and more excited as he spoke, as if he was infected. Gen Hoshino was a well-known figure in the surrounding area. He was considered a rich man, but in fact he was just a small landlord. No one knew him outside the area. Shingo Tanaka used him as an example to mobilize everyone's enthusiasm. They were very excited to think that they could live in the same house as the tycoon. They all said, "Shingo, are you serious? Can we live in a big house like that? Shingo Tanaka saw this and couldn't help but feel satisfied. The adult who taught him in the organization said that if you want others to work hard with you, you must not only talk about benefits, but also learn to paint a rosy picture. Shingo Tanaka deeply agrees with this. Although what he said was a bit exaggerated, the treatment is real, and it is also true that you can live in a big house, but only for a few people. After all, it is impossible for everyone to be an elite. However, even the most ordinary people can save money for a big house in a few years, which is better than being exploited by landlords or even nobles here all day long. Children can also have a better learning environment and become a more useful talent, and even become a ninja. In this world, the number of ninjas is actually not that large compared to ordinary people. And the power of ninjas also makes ordinary people very odd. Everyone, how could I lie to you? It's all true, but the adults are willing to help you. You also have to work hard. The adults are willing to lead everyone out of poverty and into prosperity. We may be the villains who forget their principles for the sake of profit. Tanaka Shingo warned, with a carrot in one hand and a stick in the other, so that they would know how valuable this opportunity is. Ellipsis. In the following days, Tsunade and Shizune followed Tanaka Shingo secretly and witnessed Tanaka Shingo promoting the red ideology. At first, Tsunade was a little confused, but later she gradually discovered that the organization behind Tanaka Shingo seemed to be really not simple. The red ideology also shocked Tsunade. At the same time, he also learned about the levels of members of the umbrella organization: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and purple. In Tsunade's discovery, it seemed that every villager around had joined the umbrella organization and became the most ordinary purple member. Tsunade didn't know what the purpose of this organization recruiting these ordinary people was, and it didn't seem to care about them. It seemed that only the indigo level members were worth contacting. Tsunade kept following Tanaka Shingo and found that this person seemed to be really just for the good of these villagers. The behavior shown by the whole person also made Tsunade very appreciative. Although he was not a ninja, his heart was still admirable. This made Tsunade more and more curious about this organization that she had never heard of. Ellipsis. Wave Country. Uchiha Shisui is having a meeting with Uchiha Yu, Zabuza and some other key members. How's the expansion going recently? With the passage of time and the growth of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce, Umbrella began a steady expansion policy under the guidance of Naruto and the leadership of a group of leaders such as Shisui. Zabuza stood up and spoke slowly. It's satisfactory. Some places have been promoted smoothly, but some places are still not so easy. Some civilians don't trust us very much. In addition, the speed of recruiting ninjas is getting slower and slower, and the ninjas we trained ourselves have not grown up yet. Zabuza briefly introduced the situation he was responsible for. After Zabuza finished speaking, Uchiha Yu stood up again and said happily, "The situation here is very good. The number of members has greatly increased, and at the same time, several mechanical talents have been recruited. And in some areas, our ideas have been regarded as the light of hope. In addition, we have recruited 2 special talents, Kato Shizune and Kato Shizuka, who are medical ninjas who have mastered the palm immortal technique." Uchiha Yu looked at Zabuza and smiled proudly, squinting his eyes, as if to say, "I performed better than you." But Zabuza didn't care about his mood, which made him curl his hands. "Have you checked their backgrounds?" "You." Shisui nodded with satisfaction. They were in great need of medical ninjas, especially those who had mastered the palm immortal technique. There were not many such ninjas in the 5 major ninja villages, so Shisui was a little worried that they were spies sent in by others. "No, aren't there enough homeless people in the ninja world? My subordinates just reported it, and I haven't had time to investigate it yet," Yu said helplessly. Shisui nodded and said, "Leave these 2 people to me for personal investigation. Senior members of the Umbrella organization must be tested to prevent spies from other ninja villages or other organizations from infiltrating. And the structure of the entire organization is in an umbrella shape, with the central umbrella being the absolute position led by Naruto. Then it will gradually spread. Each level will not know too much information across levels, and many small bases have been established, with funds coming from the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. The main reason for doing this is to spread the red ideology and slowly change people's thinking, not to bring them all into the organization. This makes some people depressed, such as Tsunade. She originally wanted to infiltrate the umbrella organization to find out who can create such a shocking theory and see through the essence of the ninja world in the most fundamental way. Tsunade thinks it might be a wise man who has studied for a long time, or a very old man. But now, what makes her most helpless is that she can't contact the upper level at all. They said they had to wait for notification because they didn't know the existence of their superiors. Most of them were in single-line contact, and they had a set of secret codes for contact. Such a meticulous operation method made Tsunade panic, because you don't know whether any ordinary person around you is a member of this organization. No one will pay attention to an ordinary person unless this ordinary person is particularly different. This organization is like a big net spread in the ninja world. When the net is closed, it will definitely burst out with unimaginable power. Tsunade was thinking about the power and meaning behind this organization. As for Shizune, in addition to being shocked by the concept, he also thought that this organization was good because he saw many ordinary people being helped by the umbrella organization. To their surprise, the umbrella organization seemed to have a vague connection with the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. It was not conspicuous, but it definitely existed. Chapter 71. Lady Tsunade, what should we do now? Shizune said to the somewhat mature woman, looking at Tsunade's chest, and then looking at herself. Why, even the person that Lady Tsunade transformed into was so big. Tsunade's current identity is Kato, Shizune's sister, and because Tsunade is too recognizable, she had to use the transformation technique to become like this. Kato Shizune is the niece of her former lover Kato Dan. Since Tsunade suffered from hemophobia, she has brought Shizune with her to teach. As for the reason why Tsunade left Konoha, was it because of the death of her lover or because of the darkness of the village? I'm afraid only Tsunade herself knows. Anyway, she is already alone. It is better to leave this place that makes Tsunade sad. Don't be anxious, didn't the person before say that they would arrange for us soon? But you, it seems like you've already enjoyed yourself a little bit. Tsunade rolled her eyes at Shizune, whose hands were now covered with cream. It must be said that this organization attaches great importance to talents. When the two of them arrived, they attracted great attention from the person in charge after their self-destruction ability. The two of them forged their origins to be the Kingdom of Rivers, and their mothers had helped a medical ninja from the Kingdom of Whirlpools, so in order to repay them, they left them some medical ninjutsu. Although there are many loopholes, no one has confirmed that some citizens of the Kingdom of Whirlpools did drift into the ninja world. Moreover, in the ninja world, there are many people who have obtained the training methods of ninjas and embarked on the path of wandering ninjas. Hee, Lady Tsunade, the food here is really good. Shizune said a little embarrassedly. Having followed Tsunade for these years, most of the money was taken by Tsunade to gamble, so the food was naturally a bit worse. Besides, even if it was delicacies from land and sea, it was not as good as the food here at Umbrella. Naruto's arrival brought not only ideas, but also delicious food. This is also a good way to make money. After all, food, clothing, housing and transportation, people basically cannot live without these. The two were still communicating, and suddenly a voice came from a distance. Lady Shizune, we need your help. A man in his 30s ran over, sweating profusely. What happened? Shizune asked in surprise. The old man in our village broke his arm and injured his internal organs. We need your help. If it were a normal case, we wouldn't bother you, but this. Stop talking, let's find out the situation when we get there. The most important thing is to save people first. Shizune said hurriedly. In the past few days, Shizune accidentally treated several ordinary people and promised that anyone who was injured could come to her. Unexpectedly, something really happened. Those people were ordinary people recruited by the Umbrella organization and belonged to the Umbrella Company. In the Naruto world, there are also companies and other systems, such as the Cardo group that appeared in the original work. Shizune followed the man to the place where the old Sentu had an accident. On the way, the man told Shizune what happened. The man was called Yamamoto and had no surname. It turned out that the old Sentu wanted to make more money and work in the Umbrella Company. The salary was quite generous, and overtime could be paid for overtime work, which made the old Sentu, who was originally living in poverty, particularly happy. Every time he worked very hard and often worked overtime. Today, didn't the old Sentu, who often didn't have a good rest, have an accident? He fainted and fell off the bridge. The old Sentu's original name is no longer known, and everyone likes to call him Old Sentu. Since the location was not very far away, the two arrived at the scene in a short while. Everyone gathered together, and Shizune hurriedly called out to everyone to leave quickly. Don't gather together, keep the air circulating. Quick, listen to Master Shizune, get out of the way. These people also knew that Shizune was a ninja, so they quickly stepped back and made room for him. Shizune stepped forward and saw an old man who was about 50 years old lying on the ground with a pool of blood. Shizune hurried forward, first straightened his bones, and finally used healing techniques to connect the bones. What made her frown was that the other party's internal organs were damaged. And there was dirty blood blocking it. After a careful inspection, Shizune used the chakra scalpel to quickly cut open the patient's chest. In order to prevent the other party from waking up, Shizune had used chakra to paralyze half of the other party's body. Ordinary people's injuries are not very difficult for Shizune, who studied under Tsunade. Soon, the old man's wound was sewed up again. This series of operations dazzled everyone present. No wonder they said he was a ninja. Seeing everyone showing a look of relief, Shizune couldn't help but show it. Smile. Perhaps this is the reason why she chose to become a medical ninja. In the distance, Tsunade leaned against a tree, looking at Shizune in the distance with a smile. In the past few days, he also knew that these people were all poor villagers recruited by the Umbrella organization. Some had some skills, and some could only do some hard labor, but the remuneration was quite good. Although it is not worth mentioning for ninjas, it is already a very generous existence for ordinary people. Is this so-called umbrella organization really an umbrella for the people? Tsunade once again became very interested in this organization, and then Tsunade took out the book issued for joining the organization from the scroll she carried with her. There were a few big words written on it, Red Thought. Opening it, you can see that practice is the only criterion for testing truth. Science and technology are the primary productive forces. There are also some words that are specially marked, saying, water can carry a boat, but it can also overturn it. There is also a pacifist policy. There are some small stories on it. In short, it is very detailed, and the content above is all deafening speeches, such as practice is the only criterion for testing truth. And science and technology are the primary productive forces. Tsunade didn't understand what science and technology were, but what shocked Tsunade was the next Ming said, who is Ming? Did he propose the red thought? In short, this person named Ming profoundly summarized the root causes of war in the book. War does not come from hatred, but from the uneven distribution of interests. This sentence alone made Tsunade stunned as if she had been enlightened. Tsunade is not stupid. Years of experience made her understand this sentence instantly and fell into deep thought. The book also introduces multiple countries and multiple ideas. The uneven distribution of interests will lead to the seeds of disputes. At the same time, the book also implicitly mentioned that if there is only one country in the world, then it can agree to allocate resources, instead of some places having excess resources and some places being poor. Down. Tsunade's book fell to the ground with a bang. Does the owner of this book think that the one country, one village system of the great-grandfather is wrong? Suddenly, Tsunade picked up the book again and read it again. Tsunade spent the whole day reading. Some of the views in it made her feel greatly shocked, even to the system. Tsunade and Shizune were temporarily classified as blue-level talents, because the red thoughts they issued were different from the previous level, and they began to introduce the existence of ninjas. But there was not much introduction. But one sentence in it made Tsunade agree very much. Ninjutsu originated from life and also from war. Since it can be used for fighting, it can naturally be used in life. And it comes with a ninjutsu, the technique of turning the soil. The name is very simple. It is a ninjutsu related to farming, and it comes with a chakra refining method. This once again made Tsunade's heart churn. What is the purpose of the umbrella? Is it to make the chakra practice method public? Chapter 72. In the past few days, Tsunade has been immersed in the book Red Thought, and she even stopped gambling. This surprised Shizune. It turned out that Lady Tsunade would feel uncomfortable if she didn't gamble for a day. Now she is immersed in books. Shizune glanced carefully, and it seemed to be the book they were given when they joined the organization. No way. Shizune joined the umbrella organization completely because she was dragged by Tsunade, and Shizune didn't even read the book. Could it be that this organization has brainwashed Tsunade? Shizune has heard that there are some cults in some places that will brainwash people. Could this so-called umbrella organization be such an evil organization? Shizune couldn't help but be a little worried, because Tsunade's behavior was too abnormal. Lady Tsunade, are you okay? Shizune asked cautiously, looking at her sitting at a fairly tidy table, leaning her head against the table and flipping through a book. Although she looked beautiful, Shizune felt that something was wrong with Lady Tsunade. Tsunade twirled her fingertips and slowly flipped through the book in front of her. She had read this book many times in the past few days, and every time she read it, she felt that she had gained something different. Looking at Tsunade, who seemed not to have heard, Shizune asked again in a low voice, this time getting closer, Lady Tsunade. Are you okay? This close, even a blind person would know that there was someone next to her. Tsunade heard someone calling her, and suddenly looked up. Is it Shizune? What's wrong? Shizune pointed to the book that Tsunade was reading and said, Lady Tsunade, you have been reading it repeatedly for a few days. I feel that this organization seems a little weird. Tsunade suddenly looked at Shizune, and seeing Shizune's hesitant look, she suddenly seemed to understand something. You little girl, don't you think I've been brainwashed? Tsunade pretended to be angry. Oh no, how could Lady Tsunade be brainwashed? Shizune waved her hands quickly, but the expression on her face betrayed her, and it was obvious that she felt this way. Tsunade rolled her eyes at her and said, Shizune, you will know if you read this book yourself. I feel that this is a path that my great-grandfather has always pursued. Things are really becoming more and more interesting. I can't help but want to see who can come up with such a shocking theory. This is a true pacifist policy. Tsunade, whose mind was opened up, deeply understood how crazy the content written on it would make people, especially those who yearn for peace. They might even use their lives to implement this idea. Some of the theories on it were refreshing for Tsunade. Especially if there was no value, then it was to create value. Resources could also be created instead of being taken from nature. The allocation of resources could make a group more friendly and burst out with amazing unity. Ellipsis. It profoundly explains how to create value and the importance of value. Everyone has their own value, and how much value can be created depends on themselves. Tsunade understands this very clearly. For example, a medical ninja, his role on the battlefield is unparalleled and can greatly reduce personnel losses. This is also the reason why she originally proposed to add a medical ninja to the team. But it is not as detailed as the book. And the book says that the control of resources is mostly in the hands of a small number of people, and the opening of resources can create more value, but for some reasons, it cannot be obtained. The book introduces it very deeply, most of which are shallow and core issues. These issues are enough for ordinary people to think about for a long time. Tsunade has a high opinion of the book Red Thought. Shizune couldn't expect Tsunade to identify so deeply with this book, and couldn't help asking, is it really so magical? Yes, it is magical. In Shizune's heart, it is an extremely incredible thing that Tsunade can praise it so much and praise it as the peace policy that the first generation of Hokage has been looking for. Such a high evaluation is rare in the world. Maybe I should also go and see if it is as magical as Tsunade said. Shizune couldn't help thinking. Ellipsis. In Konoha village. Naruto had no idea that Tsunade had actually sneaked into the Umbrella Corporation and had such a high reputation. If he knew, he would probably be very happy. After all, Tsunade herself is a top talent. She is also a cage-level master. She is very popular in Konoha and the Land of Fire, and is also a princess named by the Land of Fire, so Tsunade also has the title of Princess Tsunade. As time goes by, Hinata's strength has also begun to improve slowly. Naruto doesn't need Hinata's strength to be strong, but at least it won't be difficult for Hinata to do in the Hyuga family. At least it has to cover up Hanabi. This can also shut up some of the elders of the main family. So as not to talk about Hinata's lack of strength all day long. Hinata is now fighting with Neji. The current Hinata is no longer the Hinata at the beginning. The defense is in order. Hinata learned the main defense part of Tai Chi and integrated it with her own soft fist. And Ningqi's strength has also made great progress. He has comprehended part of the true meaning of Tai Chi, and his gestures have already shown the meaning of combining hardness and softness, and clear distinction. When the Hyuga soft fist is just beginning to be learned, it is easy to cause the phenomenon of steel being easily broken. Only when the soft fist is practiced to a certain level can one experience the realm of combining hardness and softness, and being able to send and receive freely. And Ningqi is obviously close to this realm, and has achieved the effect that others have achieved in decades. And all this is thanks to Naruto, but Ningqi's own talent cannot be ignored. Ningqi's current strength is far higher than Hinata's, but in order to help Hinata train, Ningqi suppressed his strength to a very low level, but Hinata's defense also surprised him. It can completely defend against attacks from the same level, and I'm afraid even the return of the sky is not much behind, and this is still Hinata has not practiced to a high level. If you practice the secrets of Tai Chi like Naruto, I'm afraid you can only rely on brute force to break it. Either you exhaust Hinata's physical strength and chakra, otherwise it will be difficult to break Hinata's defense head-on. This is the fighting method that Naruto designed for Hinata based on Hinata's situation and combined with Tai Chi. After a while, Hinata began to pant, and her chakra was almost exhausted. Nechi was in good condition and seemed to have a lot of spare energy. After that, Hinata would come to Naruto for training every now and then, and sometimes she would practice with Nechi. Now Nechi's strength is probably about the same as that of an ordinary Jonin, and the only difference is the Jonin's iron and blood combat experience. And Nechi is only 11 years old now. It's not much different from Shisui when he was young. Thinking of Shisui, Naruto felt more and more that it was the right decision to save Shisui at the beginning. Shisui was just easily fooled, and whoever fooled was not fooled. And Shisui is not stupid, he just didn't think of it in some aspects. It's just that he is lacking. Now Shisui has not only greatly increased his combat power, but also made great progress in his understanding of politics and the overall situation. In the past few days, Tsunade has been immersed in the book Red Thought, and she even stopped gambling. This surprised Shizune. It turned out that Lady Tsunade would feel uncomfortable if she didn't gamble for a day. Now she is immersed in books. Shizune glanced carefully, and it seemed to be the book they were given when they joined the organization. No way. Shizune joined the Umbrella organization completely because she was dragged by Tsunade, and Shizune didn't even read the book. Could it be that this organization has brainwashed Tsunade? Shizune has heard that there are some cults in some places that will brainwash people. Could this so-called Umbrella organization be such an evil organization? Shizune couldn't help but be a little worried, because Tsunade's behavior was too abnormal. Lady Tsunade, are you okay? Shizune asked cautiously, looking at her sitting at a fairly tidy table, leaning her head against the table and flipping through a book. Although she looked beautiful, Shizune felt that something was wrong with Lady Tsunade. Tsunade twirled her fingertips and slowly flipped through the book in front of her. She had read this book many times in the past few days, and every time she read it, she felt that she had gained something different. Looking at Tsunade, who seemed not to have heard, Shizune asked again in a low voice, this time getting closer, Lady Tsunade. Are you okay? This close, even a blind person would know that there was someone next to her. Tsunade heard someone calling her, and suddenly looked up. Is it Shizune? What's wrong? Shizune pointed to the book that Tsunade was reading and said, Lady Tsunade, you have been reading it repeatedly for a few days. I feel that this organization seems a little weird. Tsunade suddenly looked at Shizune, and seeing Shizune's hesitant look, she suddenly seemed to understand something. You little girl, don't you think I've been brainwashed? Tsunade pretended to be angry. Oh no, how could Lady Tsunade be brainwashed? Shizune waved her hands quickly, but the expression on her face betrayed her, and it was obvious that she felt this way. Tsunade rolled her eyes at her and said, Shizune, you will know if you read this book yourself. I feel that this is a path that my great-grandfather has always pursued. Things are really becoming more and more interesting. I can't help but want to see who can come up with such a shocking theory. This is a true pacifist policy. Tsunade, whose mind was opened up, deeply understood how crazy the content written on it would make people, especially those who yearned for peace. They might even use their lives to implement this idea. Some of the theories on it were refreshing for Tsunade. Especially if there was no value, then it was to create value. Resources could also be created instead of being taken from nature. The allocation of resources could make a group more friendly and burst out with amazing unity. Ellipsis. It profoundly explains how to create value and the importance of value. Everyone has their own value, and how much value can be created depends on themselves. Tsunade understands this very clearly. For example, a medical ninja, his role on the battlefield is unparalleled and can greatly reduce personnel losses. This is also the reason why she originally proposed to add a medical ninja to the team. But it is not as detailed as the book. And the book says that the control of resources is mostly in the hands of a small number of people, and the opening of resources can create more value, but for some reasons, it cannot be obtained. The book introduces it very deeply, most of which are shallow and core issues. These issues are enough for ordinary people to think about for a long time. Tsunade has a high opinion of the book Red Thought. Shizune couldn't expect Tsunade to identify so deeply with this book, and couldn't help asking, is it really so magical? Yes, it is magical. In Shizune's heart, it is an extremely incredible thing that Tsunade can praise it so much and praise it as the peace policy that the first generation of Hokage has been looking for. Such a high evaluation is rare in the world. Maybe I should also go and see if it is as magical as Tsunade said. Shizune couldn't help thinking. Ellipsis. In Konoha village. Naruto had no idea that Tsunade had actually sneaked into the Umbrella Corporation and had such a high reputation. If he knew, he would probably be very happy. After all, Tsunade herself is a top talent. She is also a cage-level master. She is very popular in Konoha and the Land of Fire, and is also a princess named by the Land of Fire, so Tsunade also has the title of Princess Tsunade. As time goes by, Hinata's strength has also begun to improve slowly. Naruto doesn't need Hinata's strength to be strong, but at least it won't be difficult for Hinata to do in the Hyuga family. At least it has to cover up Hanabi. This can also shut up some of the elders of the main family. So as not to talk about Hinata's lack of strength all day long. Hinata is now fighting with Neji. The current Hinata is no longer the Hinata at the beginning. The defense is in order. Hinata learned the main defense part of Tai Chi and integrated it with her own soft fist. And Ningqi's strength has also made great progress. He has comprehended part of the true meaning of Tai Chi, and his gestures have already shown the meaning of combining hardness and softness, and clear distinction. When the Hyuga soft fist is just beginning to be learned, it is easy to cause the phenomenon of steel being easily broken. Only when the soft fist is practiced to a certain level can one experience the realm of combining hardness and softness, and being able to send and receive freely. And Ninki is obviously close to this realm, and has achieved the effect that others have achieved in decades. And all this is thanks to Naruto, but Ninchi's own talent cannot be ignored. Ninchi's current strength is far higher than Hinata's, but in order to help Hinata train, Ninki suppressed his strength to a very low level, but Hinata's defense also surprised him. It can completely defend against attacks from the same level, and I'm afraid even the return of the sky is not much behind, and this is still Hinata has not practiced to a high level. If you practice the secrets of Tai Chi like Naruto, I'm afraid you can only rely on brute force to break it. Either you exhaust Hinata's physical strength and chakra, otherwise it will be difficult to break Hinata's defense head-on. This is the fighting method that Naruto designed for Hinata based on Hinata's situation and combined with Tai Chi. After a while, Hinata began to pant, and her chakra was almost exhausted. Nechi was in good condition and seemed to have a lot of spare energy. After that, Hinata would come to Naruto for training every now and then, and sometimes she would practice with Nechi. Now Nechi's strength is probably about the same as that of an ordinary Jonin, and the only difference is the Jonin's iron and blood combat experience. And Nechi is only 11 years old now. It's not much different from Shisui when he was young. Thinking of Shisui, Naruto felt more and more that it was the right decision to save Shisui at the beginning. Shisui was just easily fooled, and whoever fooled was not fooled. And Shisui is not stupid, he just didn't think of it in some aspects. It's just that he is lacking. Now Shisui has not only greatly increased his combat power, but also made great progress in his understanding of politics and the overall situation. Chapter 73. These days, Hyuga Hiyashi was very surprised by Hinata's changes, especially the changes in Hinata's fighting. Hinata's original punches were soft and her own strength was not fully exerted. Hiyashi was also very troubled. This was caused by her personality. He had no way to deal with his daughter's natural cowardice. The only thing he could do was to strictly require Hinata. But Hinata had no fighting spirit at all. The soft fist she punched was not hard at all, only soft. Even Hanabi, who was 5 years younger than her, couldn't beat her. But recently, Hinata not only began to work hard in training, but also began to become serious in the battle with Hanabi. Although they also stayed behind, Hinata's defense shocked Hyuga Hiyashi. It seemed to be a soft fist, but in fact it looked mysterious. Hanabi was often brought into the rhythm by Hinata, as if mixed into a quagmire. Not only did she not hurt Hanabi, Hinata herself could still stand firmly on the upper hand. But what really surprised Hyuga Hiyashi was that the soft fist method used by Hinata had the shadow of their Hyuga soft fist, but also had another style. Could it be the soft fist method created by Hinata? After a while, Hanabi was already sweating profusely. No more fighting, no more fighting, sister is playing tricks, like a loach, I can't hit her even if I hit her. Wahuo said dissatisfiedly. Her pouting little mouth was probably enough to make soy sauce. Well, good performance. What is this soft fist technique? Seeing her usually strict father showing a satisfied look, Hinata's heart couldn't help but surge with some waves. A happy look appeared on her face. Hinata couldn't help but be stunned when she heard her father's question. She thought of Naruto. If it was discovered that it was Naruto who taught her, Naruto would probably be in a very bad position. Will father embarrass Naruto? For a moment, many thoughts flashed through Hinata's little head. Finally, Hinata looked up and said, I created it. Hyuga Hiyashi once again forced out a smile and said, You are worthy of being my daughter, Hyuga Hiyashi. Keep up the good work. Hinata also nodded. After that, she said to Hanabi with a stern face, Keep up the good work. Then she turned around and left. Hanabi made a face at Hyuga Hiyashi's back. When Hyuga Hiyashi walked away, Hinata grabbed Hanabi and rolled her eyes. Don't be like this, Hanabi. Hanabi ignored him and made a face at Hinata. Hinata looked at Hanabi with caring eyes and rubbed Hanabi's head without saying anything. Sister, what was that move you just did? Can you teach me? Facing Hanabi's question, Hinata was stunned. She didn't expect Hanabi to want to learn Tai Chi from her. Thinking about it carefully, it seems that Naruto-kun didn't say that she couldn't teach others, but this was taught by Naruto-kun, so she could ask him when the time comes. Let me study it when I get back. After all, I'm not sure if I can teach you. Hinata said in a low voice. Humph, didn't your brother-in-law ask you to teach me? Wahuo pouted and tilted her head to one side. What are you talking about? Hinata's face instantly turned red. Tisk tisk tisk, I don't know who it is who always calls Naruto-kun when he's asleep. Although Hanabi is young, she is very clever and looks at Hinata meaningfully. No. Hinata said with a red face. Lululu, my sister is shy. Hanabi. Hinata was immediately a little angry and pursued Hanabi. Seeing this, Hanabi immediately started running, teasing as she ran. Ellipsis. After Hinata Hiyashi returned, his serious expression relaxed, but his brows were slightly furrowed. Hey, Hinata. How could Hinata's acting skills fool Hyuga Hiyashi? No one knows a daughter better than her father. Hinata obviously has some unspeakable secrets. But when Hyuga Hiyashi thought that his dear little cotton-padded jacket was beginning to leak, he couldn't help but feel heartbroken. Hinata's soft fist must not be practiced by herself. Such a flexible soft fist requires at least decades of attainments. And Hinata's performance is still very immature. Obviously, this fist has not reached the highest level. The general pioneers will have a proficiency in it that is unmatched by ordinary people. And Hinata has been coming home late for the past few days. Could she be practicing this special fist? But who else can reach this level in soft fist except the Hyuga clan? Hyuga Hiyashi also has deep doubts, but it seems that this situation is still beneficial to them, the Hyuga clan. However, for Hinata's safety, some plans must be made. Hyuga Hiyashi summoned an elite chunin from the branch family and ordered, investigate Hinata's recent itinerary recently. Tell me if there is anything unusual. Yes. The ninja from the branch family knelt on one knee, then used the instant body technique to disappear directly into the room. Ellipsis. In the room. Under the gloomy candlelight, the shadow of a figure was stretched very long. He knelt on one knee on the ground, wearing a chunin vest. He said in a leisurely tone, report to the head of the family, Miss Hinata has been with Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Neji recently, except for classes. Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. How did they get mixed up? And Neji's nephew? Thinking of the latter, Hyuga Hiyashi's face also showed a trace of guilt. Then he thought about why they got mixed up. It seems that it was just a few children mixed together, but Hyuga Hiyashi knew that this matter was not that simple. Uzumaki Naruto, the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, can be said to be the most important existence in Konoha now. And Uchiha Sasuke, the orphan of the Uchiha family, has a very sensitive identity. As for Neji, although he was only a member of the branch family, he was the son of his younger brother and the top student of his class. It stands to reason that he should not be mixed up with Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, who were one class apart. Hinata Hiyashi frowned, constantly thinking about the connection, and he did not notice that his subordinate had a strange light flashing in his eyes. Ellipsis. In the back mountain, on the training ground, Naruto was gathering with Sasuke and Neji, while Lee was still training with Might Guy. Naruto, why did Lord Hiyashi send someone to investigate us? Ningji said. Don't you have the answer in your mind? Naruto said, looking at Neji with a smile. Neji touched his head and said with a smile, I just want to hear your analysis. Since temporarily getting rid of the threat of the bird in the cage, Neji has become much more cheerful. Is this something that needs to be analyzed? Hinata's strength has improved so quickly, and with the unfamiliar Tai Chi, it would be strange if he didn't investigate. Naruto said. By the way, Naruto, what is your purpose in controlling Hinata Sosuke? Stupid. The organization is already short of manpower, not to mention reconnaissance talents like Hyuga. Naruto must want a few Hyuga talents. Sasuke said coldly. Although he looked down on Hyuga's bloodline limit, the Sharingan was no match for the Byakugan in terms of reconnaissance. Humph. Nechi turned his head away and snorted coldly. The two of them usually didn't get along and often said sarcastic things. This was not the first time, but they were still very reliable at critical moments. Nechi was too lazy to explain. Didn't he know? He just wanted to ask Naruto about his plan. Chapter 74. The organization is quite short of manpower recently, especially reconnaissance talents. Naruto touched his chin and looked up thinking. By the way, Ninki, have you contacted the people from the branch family? Naruto suddenly said. Not yet. I'm afraid of alerting the enemy. No one can guarantee that they will not reveal us. Neji waved his hand. He was telling the truth, and Sasuke nodded. After all, Naruto's existence is too important. In Konoha village, they are walking on thin ice and dare not relax at any time. Well, it's always better to be cautious. Neji, you can do this. First trick them out, but don't reveal my existence. Then control them. Then help them get in touch with the control of the caged bird. Let them take a long-term mission outside the village, and let them help Shisui and the others. Just come back regularly. Naruto spoke slowly, and Neji began to think about it. He felt that this was very safe, and the risk of him and others being exposed was very small. Otherwise, if they were exposed now, he and Sasuke had practiced very hard, and now they were only ordinary Jonin. There were a lot of such people in Konoha, and they were still limited by their physical fitness. As for Naruto, his current strength is unknown, but he is not the opponent of so many people in Konoha, so hiding now is necessary, just for a better tomorrow. No problem, but in order to prevent it from being too abrupt, I can only win over 2 or 3 people. It's enough. After all, they don't have to go out to fight. Naruto nodded. Ellipsis. Another training ground. At this moment, green energy bloomed around Shaoli. This was the reason for the agitation of life energy. Shaoli had already opened 3 gates at this moment. This was the 8 gates of Dunjia that Might Guy taught Shaoli. It was an extremely dangerous forbidden physical technique, but it was also a powerful amplification physical technique. There were 8 gates in total, and each time a gate was opened, the corresponding power would be gained. The first gate was the opening gate. After opening the opening gate, the restrictions on the brain area could be lifted. While overloading the body's energy, the strength and speed could be greatly improved. At this time, the lotus flower could be used. The opponent could be kicked away with a high-speed continuous kick, and the opponent could be quickly behind the opponent, and the opponent could be tied up with a bandage. After high-speed rotation, the opponent could be violently hit to the ground. The second gate was the rest gate. After opening the rest gate, the restrictions on physical fatigue could be lifted, and the body's energy could be overloaded to restore physical strength, offsetting the fatigue caused by the speed of energy consumption when opening the gate. At this time, the strongest move was still the lotus flower, which could be used in conjunction with physical techniques such as Shadow Dance Leaf and Konoha Great Tornado. This stage would not endanger life. This stage was developed to solve the side effects after opening the gate. The third gate was the life gate. After opening the life gate, the strength and speed are further improved. At the same time, the body begins to become red with blood. The life gate is the last safe zone of the 8 gates. The body begins to emit green energy, which is the basis for the use of Li Lianhua. Li Lianhua can hit the opponent at a speed exceeding the speed of sound, and has great lethality. At this gate, the power of cells in the body has begun to be used, and it has begun to have a strong lethality. The fourth gate is the wound gate. After opening the wound gate, the strength is increased again on the basis of the life gate. This stage begins to be the dangerous stage of the 8 gates. It is the 8 gates in the true sense. The speed is very fast and can increase the attack intensity of Li Lianhua. Xiao Li in the original work, after using this wound gate, his veins swelled. His own body and strength have also been improved to a terrifying level. The 5th gate is the Du gate. After opening the Du gate, the speed of the ninja will reach the critical value, enough to drive the air to lift the ground when moving, but it is very heavy on the body. A whole human turret. The power is extremely great when it is casually attacked. In the original work, Shaoli opened the 5th gate and directly pressed Gaara to blast. If Gaara's sand hadn't been too foul, and if Li hadn't been too burdened, Gaara wouldn't have won. At that time, Li's strength had already reached the level of a Jonin. Among the 12 Konoha ninjas at that time, no one could have blocked Li's attacks except for cheating. After all, Gaara had been assassinated since he was a child, and some of Shukaku's abilities could be used. Although Gaara was young at that time, the missions he had performed were not comparable to Li and others, and there were more than 1 or 2 Jonin who died in his hands. The 6th gate, Jingmun. After opening the Jingmun, you can enter a semi-open buffer state, that is, maintain the green energy emitted after opening the door, but the body does not change at all to reduce its own consumption load and damage. When needed, you can instantly open your full combat power. It is the basis for performing the peacock, and attack the enemy by rubbing the air to generate flames. In the original work, Might Kelly easily defeated Kisame with this trick. You must know that Kisame is not an ordinary shadow-level ninja. That's the man known as the tailless-tailed beast. The 7th gate, Jingmun. The shock gate is the last gate before the death gate. The body begins to emit blue steam generated by the evaporation of sweat. After it is released, even if the body is slightly touched, it will be extremely painful. At this time, you can use the Day Tiger to attack the enemy with a concentrated ultra-high-speed punch, forming a tiger-shaped air cannon with powerful power. This gate is close to the death gate, and the pressure on the body has reached an unimaginable level. At the same time, the power has reached a terrible level. From the original work, Kisame has almost no power to fight back. It can be seen that Might Guy, who used this move, may have reached the super shadow level, but the burden is too great to use it frequently. The pain after the release alone is not something that ordinary people can bear. The 8th death gate. The peak state of the 8 gates of Dunjia, because burning life will produce red steam, with a power that is more than dozens of times that of the 5 shadows. At this time, the strongest move is Night Guy, which uses a superpower that is enough to distort space to kick the opponent fatally, which is very burdensome to the body. During the Third World War, Might Guy's father once opened the 8 gates of Dunjia. Directly kicked the 7 ninja swordsmen to pieces. The power is estimated to have reached the super shadow level. It is expected to be above Might Guy's 7th gate. And now Might Guy has already surpassed his father, and the power of the 8 gates is even stronger, and he almost kicked out the finale. And next to Shaoli, there are 2 other men, one is Might Guy, and the other is Kakashi. At this moment, Shaoli's performance moved the 2. Especially Kakashi, as Might Guy's best friend, he knows how high the 8 gates requires for human physical strength. Now Shaoli has surpassed Might Guy of the same period. I knew this kid would succeed. Might Guy showed Kakashi his sparkling white teeth. And gave him a thumbs up. Kakashi also agreed and said, "Well, this is indeed possible." They all saw Li's efforts, and Li was able to open the first 3 gates of the 8 gates at such a young age. Although the requirements for these gates are not high, being able to open the first 3 gates at this age is considered a good talent in physical skills. As for genius, that's still a bit short. After all, they were already fighting on the battlefield when they were younger than Li. Chapter 75. Just as the 2 were talking, suddenly a sound came. Green energy surrounded Shaoli, veins on his forehead bulged, the surroundings began to burst, and his skin turned blood red. His expression was ferocious. What was this? Xiaoli actually opened the fourth gate of injury. The fourth gate has exceeded the safety limit of the 8 gates of Dunjia, and greatly increases the power on the basis of the life gate. However, the side effects of this level of 8 gates of Dunjia also began to appear. Immortal Golden Body. Open the injury gate. Xiaoli used the immortal golden body to strengthen his body. After entering the fourth gate of the 8 gates of Dunjia today, Xiaoli felt that his strength had increased exponentially, and the power continued to emerge. However, the first time he entered the injury gate, he could feel that the injury gate was damaging his body, accompanied by pain. This is the price of gaining power. Xiaoli punched the ground, and a big hole appeared immediately. Swish. Xiaoli, stop using the 8 gates. Quick. Might Guy and Kakashi appeared beside Xiaoli one after the other. After hearing what Might Guy said, Xiaoli hurriedly stopped, although he still wanted to continue to try the power after opening the fourth gate of the 8 gates. He felt that after using the indestructible golden body, the burden brought by the fourth gate seemed to be slightly more than the third gate, and it was completely unable to reach the pressure that Might Guy said. Xiaoli, don't force yourself. Forcing yourself into the 8 gates will put you in danger. Might Guy said worriedly. Xiaoli was about to say something, but when he saw Might Guy's concerned expression, he swallowed his words. Kai, you are too concerned. There are traces of another kind of taijutsu on Xiaoli's body, and it can be superimposed with the 8 gates. Not only is the endurance greatly enhanced, but even the side effects are much smaller. Kakashi looked at Xiaoli with deep eyes, as if he had seen through everything. Xiaoli's heart skipped a beat. He didn't expect Kakashi to be able to see through his background. He was worthy of being called a ninja with great wisdom by Naruto. You are right, I was too anxious. After observing, Kai calmed down. He also found that there was a special aura on Xiaoli, which made him stronger. Especially after feeling Xiaoli's body, Xiaoli was not as bad as he imagined. He has always found that Xiaoli's basic physical skills are very good. He originally thought that Xiaoli had a family inheritance, but Xiaoli is an orphan. Although Might Guy is a bit nervous, he is also careful. Xiaoli has his own secrets, and he didn't ask. After all, everyone has their own secrets. Kakashi took a deep look at Xiaoli, and his deep eyes made Xiaoli feel like he was seen through. Could it be that Mr. Kakashi, who is called 50-50 by Naruto and has white hair due to kidney deficiency, knows that he is hiding his strength? Xiaoli thought to himself, feeling a little guilty when being looked at by Kakashi. Xiaoli with thick eyebrows and big eyes has also become bad after being influenced by Naruto. As for Kakashi, he is not what Xiaoli imagined, but Kakashi knows that what Xiaoli knows is probably from Naruto. After all, since he overheard the truth from Naruto, he has paid more attention to Naruto. Xiaoli often practices with Naruto, and he knows that Naruto's real strength is not simple, but Might Guy doesn't know it. But why would Might Guy be entangled in this regard? Suddenly Kakashi said, Xiaoli, I wonder if I can make a deal with you. I will use my lightning release ninjutsu S-level Reikiri to exchange your method of practicing physical skills. Kakashi, you. Might Guy was a little bit unbelievable. Kakashi actually said such a thing. It was a bit abrupt, and it was not a very polite thing. Although Kakashi was sincere, it was an S-level lightning ninjutsu. How many S-level ninjutsu are there in the ninja world? It is simply rare. And as an elder, it is a very embarrassing thing for Kakashi to ask a junior for a deal. Is Kakashi really weird recently? Not only did he take the initiative to fight with him, but also asked him for advice on the 8 gates ninjutsu, and he also picked up the old white fang sword technique again. In Might Guy's opinion, Kakashi has completely walked out of the shadow of the past and wants to become stronger. Kakashi, my dear friend, you did a good job. He gave a thumbs up and showed his iconic teeth. The white teeth looked a little dazzling in the sunlight. Kakashi looked at Might Guy. Did you misunderstand something? Kakashi did start to practice hard, but because the Sharingan continued to absorb his chakra, Kakashi's chakra was not much, so it was impossible to practice ninjutsu and develop ninjutsu. Because it won't be long before there is no chakra, and if you want to make further progress in your strength, you can only make progress in physical skills. Therefore, Kakashi picked up the White Fang sword technique that he had given up. Not only that, Kakashi also asked Might Guy about the practice of the 8 gates of ninjutsu. Although he had learned it before, he only opened the first gate. He didn't plan to develop in this area before, and although it is very late to practice physical skills now, as long as he can open the first 4 gates of the 8 gates of ninjutsu, plus the Sharingan and the White Fang sword technique, Kakashi's strength is also firmly at the level of Kage. And Kakashi's the purpose is very clear. After his investigation, his father's death is related to one person, that is Shimura Danzo. Although Kakashi had already known it because he had eavesdropped on Naruto's words before, what he found out by himself made him believe it more, didn't he? And if he wants to get justice for his dead father from Danzo, he can't do it without strength. Moreover, there are many root ninjas around Danzo. Before, Uchiha Shisui opened the Mangekyo and was not Danzo's opponent. Kakashi can only think of ways to become stronger, even if it is asking the younger generation. He knows that Rock Lee is a physical ninja, but he knows that Uchiha Sasuke in Naruto's small group needs lightning release ninjutsu, and his own Reikiri and Chidori are a perfect match with the Sharingan. Based on his observations, they will agree. Before Rock Lee could speak, Might Guy said, Kakashi, although you have become more motivated during this period, my disciple, like me, does not know ninjutsu. I believe that he can become a great ninja even if he doesn't know any ninjutsu or illusion. Kakashi ignored Might Guy and said, if you figure it out, you can come to this training ground to find me. Then, he turned around and started practicing. He must seize the time to become stronger. Kakashi, my dear friend, let's compete in training. Full of passion, Might Guy couldn't help but feel excited when he saw Kakashi's current state. Kakashi, who was obsessed with training, was better than reading the works of Master Jiraiya. Might Guy joined the training happily. Lee, who stayed behind, was thoughtful. Might Guy didn't care about the deal between them at all. He believed in Kakashi and Lee. Chapter 76. Oh, are you saying that Kakashi wants to exchange the training method of the indestructible golden body with you? Naruto looked at Xiao Li with interest. Yes, but he seems to be talking about us. Does he know us? Xiao Li answered seriously. Even Neji and Sasuke looked solemn at this moment. Don't worry, I was the one who let Kakashi find us, but he doesn't know our true strength. Kakashi is an ally that can be won over. Don't worry too much. This transaction is not only a test for us, but also a real interest in the indestructible golden body. Naruto's mouth curled up a smile. Kakashi was able to wait until now to contact him, and in this way. Kakashi is really smart. What Kakashi didn't know was that Naruto already knew that Kakashi knew of their existence. How much do you know about Kakashi? Naruto asked again, looking at the others with a smile on his face. Kakashi, I don't know much about him, but he is said to be a powerful Jonin. Neji said with a frown. Sasuke didn't care about anything other than training. I know. Naruto once said that Kakashi is a white-haired man with great wisdom. Xiao Li said confidently. Naruto couldn't help but glare at him. He knew he was slandering him. How could he say that? I know you don't know, so let me introduce Kakashi to you. Naruto used Earth Escape to create a few wooden stools, and after they sat down one after another, looking at their curious expressions, Naruto said, Kakashi, his father is Hitaki Sakumo, who is known as the White Fang of Konoha. His father's strength is no less than that of the third Hokage. He is also much stronger than the current Kakashi. His White Fang swordsmanship is superb and he can be called a battlefield harvester. Ninjas from other ninja villages are allowed to give up their missions when they meet him. When Naruto said this, several people were shocked. You know, in this world, missions are extremely important to ninjas. I didn't expect Kakashi's father to have such a deterrent power. Naruto continued, and Kakashi is the son of Konoha White Fang Hatake Tsukumo. At that time, he was known as a super genius, overwhelming a group of geniuses, the best of that class. Sasuke and Neji looked at each other with shock in their eyes. They didn't expect Naruto to describe Kakashi so highly. Kakashi was a genin at the age of 5. He graduated in the same year. He was a chunin at the age of 6, and created the A-level lightning-style ninjutsu Chidori at the age of 12. At the age of 13, he created the S-level lightning-style ninjutsu, Chidori's advanced ninjutsu Reikiri, which is said to be able to cut off lightning. Naruto didn't waste any words and directly told him Kakashi's information. Sasuke and Neji looked at each other again, their eyes full of shock. Kakashi was so amazing. He went to the battlefield as a genin at the age of 5, and he was a chunin at the age of 6, and he created a high-level ninjutsu when he graduated almost as soon as they did. What kind of talent is this? Sasuke, Kakashi is Uchiha Itachi's predecessor. Naruto mentioned casually. A murderous intent rose up instantly. Naruto frowned and shouted, "Sasuke, calm down." After Naruto's scolding, Sasuke calmed down and said with a gloomy face, "Sorry, I lost my temper." Several people also knew about Sasuke's situation, so they naturally understood it, and quickly moved on from it and returned to the topic of Kakashi. Kakashi is such a genius, why haven't we heard of him before? Ninki said puzzledly, he only knew a little about Kakashi. Others' rumors about him were just that he was a powerful jonin and an outstanding ninja. Kakashi's title as a copy ninja was rarely spread out, and it was basically circulated in the ninja circle. Ninki and the others naturally didn't know. If Kakashi is such a genius, why is he still a jonin now? Sasuke frowned, finding something unreasonable. Seeing Sasuke's strange expression and even Neji's puzzled expression, Naruto spoke again. Kakashi used to be a genius, but only before the age of 13. After that, Kakashi fell into a period of depression for a long time because of the death of his best friend, and he was obsessed with Jiraiya's works. What is Jiraiya's work? And who is Jiraiya? Idiot, you don't even know Master Jiraiya. Master Jiraiya is the legendary Sannin. But I really don't know what works Master Jiraiya has written. Neji looked at Sasuke with disdain, and then fell into deep thought, thinking about what works Master Jiraiya has written. Ha ha, you don't need to understand this. Ha ha. Naruto laughed awkwardly, can I tell you what book it is? Can I tell you if my fame still exists? But Jiraiya does have some talent in this area. Having said that, I think this deal is feasible, and according to what Kakashi said, he must know about us, and his ninjutsu this time is probably prepared for Sasuke. Naruto smiled in his heart, since Kakashi wants to get in touch with me in this way, I will help him. Although the indestructible golden body is precious, Kakashi's ninjutsu is equally extraordinary. And now the indestructible golden body can only be cultivated to the level of Reikage. That is the level of the golden body. As for the next stage of the indestructible golden body, Naruto is still conceiving, and he needs to borrow the power of natural energy. However, judging from the current situation, there is no need to think about natural energy within 1 or 2 years. Although there is the ability of God rewarding hard work, it is really a bit difficult to create something from nothing, because if it is not used well, it is very likely to be assimilated by natural energy. Therefore, Naruto is currently very careful in his research on natural energy. After Naruto's last epiphany, he has been able to sense the existence of natural energy from the surrounding environment. However, he still has no idea how to use it. The 3 holy places in the original work have a high degree of recognition of natural energy. Myoboku Mountain failed and turned into a toad, and the same is true for Ryachi Cave. After failure, it will either turn into food or into a snake man stone statue. As for the wet bone forest is similar, but it rarely succeeds. Among the 3 holy places, only Myoboku Mountain is relatively docile to absorbing chakra, and has the highest success rate. Jiraiya, Minato Namikaze and later Naruto have successfully cultivated into sage mode there. The technique used after entering Sage mode can be called Sage technique. The combat power is expected to be Super Shadow level. And to enter Sage mode, the minimum requirement is Shadow level. Naruto does not want to practice the Sage mode of any of the 3 holy places, because Naruto thinks that the Sage mode of the 3 holy places is weird. Or the upper limit is not high, there is always a kind of incomplete version. The sages of the 3 holy places are very long-lived, and humans who have learned the Sage mode seem to have no lifespan bonus in addition to a great increase in combat power. And these 3 holy places cannot help you for free. As long as they are intelligent creatures, they will always have something to ask for. Therefore, Naruto cannot risk the hidden dangers to go to the 3 holy places to learn Sage mode. The best way is to constantly use the ability of God's way to reward hard work to develop his own Sage mode. Chapter 77. Naruto has already finalized the deal with Kakashi, so Lee found Kakashi the next day. Might Guy was not there, and it was said that he was on a mission. Kakashi's actual mission was not easy, but now he wanted to improve his strength, and he was devoted to it, and the 3rd generation also approved Kakashi's leave. There is no shortage of elite Jonin in the village, but what is lacking is the real high-end combat power. Konoha is getting more and more withered now, and there are only a few shadow-level existences now. Therefore, the 3rd generation hopes that Kakashi's strength can be improved. After all, in the eyes of the 3rd generation, Kakashi and he are in the same group. Kakashi in his early years was dazzling, but Kakashi in recent years is indeed a pity for the 3rd generation. When he was as old as Kakashi, he had steadily entered the shadow level, but Kakashi has hardly made any progress in these years. The development of ninjutsu itself has completely stagnated, and now it relies particularly on the Sharingan, which makes the 3rd generation a little disappointed. Kakashi's own talent is above the 3 Magatama. Kakashi's talent is even stronger than White Fang's when he was a child. At this moment, there are several more people on the number 8 training ground. The number 8 training ground has been reserved by Kakashi. In the past month, no one will come to this training ground. Unless they are told that there is a vacancy in this training ground. Naruto appeared on this training ground with Uchiha Sasuke, Hyuga Neji and Rock Lee. At this time, Naruto stepped forward and said, "Hello, Kakashi Jonin, regarding your proposal for this transaction, I believe you also know that Rock Lee is a physical ninja and can't use your ninjutsu, but Sasuke and your ninjutsu are very compatible. If possible, I hope you can change the object of the transaction to Sasuke." Kakashi squinted one eye, and the other eye was tightly wrapped under the forehead protector. He looked at Naruto's appearance and listened to Naruto's slow talk. He also knew that his test was seen through by Naruto, and he also got the answer he wanted. Naruto had bought all the people in Konoha before, so there was no reason why he hadn't been discovered at that time. However, he was not sure. This time, he got the answer he wanted. It was Uzumaki Naruto who deliberately let him know the truth. His presence here was evidence and a symbol of a hidden showdown. The two looked at each other and understood each other. Yes. Kakashi said it briefly, without letting the young Sasuke and Neji see it. Sasuke and Neji also began to look at this guy who was called a super genius by Naruto. He was wearing a Jonin vest, with white hair standing high, and his forehead tilted to cover one eye. It should be the Sharingan that Naruto mentioned. The whole person seemed a little lazy, but his eyes revealed a gleam. He looked a little bit capable, but not like a master, right? Of course, the two would not judge people by their appearance. According to Naruto's explanation, the two took Kakashi very seriously. Kakashi claimed to have learned thousands of ninjutsu, which was not something that ordinary people could do. This also meant that Kakashi had many battle plans. In fact, this was also the origin of his nickname, 50-50. The rich ninjutsu allowed him to deal with any type of ninja calmly. The gap was too big to mention. Sasuke, the next one will be your teacher. Study hard, his ninjutsu is very suitable for you. Naruto turned and said to Sasuke behind him. Sasuke nodded. Naruto had told him before that after learning Kakashi's ninjutsu, his strength would be greatly improved. Sasuke nodded and looked at Kakashi. After a 2-second pause, Sasuke said, "Kakashi Jonin, I heard that you are a powerful ninja in the village, and you also have the title of Konoha Technician Copy Ninja Kakashi. Before that, I hope to challenge you." Kakashi was a little angry and laughed. The boy in front of him actually challenged him without knowing his own limitations. Naruto was okay, Kakashi was not sure, but he didn't take Uchiha Sasuke seriously. "I also want to challenge you, Kakashi Jonin." Ninji stood up and said, and bowed to Kakashi with respect in his tone. There was no problem with etiquette, as expected of a member of the Hyuga family. Naruto put himself and Kakashi on the same level. "Okay, let me show you, come on together." Kakashi glanced at Naruto, who didn't move at all, obviously acquiescing to the two's behavior. He didn't know whether they were sent by Naruto to test his strength or they were just two young and frivolous teenagers. Naruto smiled lightly, and gave up the venue with Shaoli. At the same time, he nodded to Sasuke and Neji. The two understood immediately, meaning not to show all their strength. "Let's get started, Mr. Kakashi." The two of them took their positions and used the chakra dialogue room developed by Naruto to start communicating. In a moment, they formulated a strategy. Sasuke quickly formed hand seals. The hand seals he had practiced in the past few years were not in vain. Sasuke's current hand seal speed was no worse than any Chunin. Even comparable to Jonin. Fire style. Great Dragon Fire Technique. 8 diagrams Fierce Wind Palm. Fire borrowed from the wind, and the power of Sasuke's ninjutsu increased again, and he hit Kakashi. The powerful ninjutsu hit Kakashi instantly. Bang! A cloud of smoke appeared, which turned out to be a substitute technique. The two did not hesitate and hit another place, and it was Kakashi's figure. Kakashi quickly formed a seal, and the speed of forming a seal was slightly faster than Sasuke. Facing the attacks of the two, Kakashi countered them. He was very good at ninjutsu. The two people's eyes lit up. Kakashi's combination and use of various ninjutsu were indeed refreshing. Earth style, earth flow wall. It's just that. Kakashi's earth style always carves a dog's head. Is this a way to increase the power? The two's attacks hit the earth flow wall, and they found that it was no different from an ordinary earth flow wall. Naruto on the side was speechless. Does Kakashi have too much chakra? I have so many cards, but you can't play as many tricks as me. The head can be cut off, the blood can flow, and the dog head earth flow wall must be there. Sasuke and Neji also showed solemn expressions on their faces. Kakashi is really not simple. Facing the joint efforts of the two, he can even carve a dog head on the earth flow wall. Although the two did not fire at full power. The immortal golden body. The two of them immediately used the immortal golden body, and different colors bloomed on their bodies. A more powerful aura emerged from their bodies. Kakashi's eyes condensed. Is this the physical technique that Shaoli practiced? It's really not simple. Except for the color change and the strength increase, there are no other changes in the two people. This means that the two people do not have side effects like the 8 gates of ninjutsu, or it may be that the side effects can be within the range of the body's tolerance. In an instant, Neji and Sasuke's speed soared, and Kakashi directly revealed his Sharingan. In a flash, the three of them collided. The two were pushed back 3 steps by Kakashi's White Fang sword technique. Kakashi took a step back. The speed reached the level of an ordinary Jonin. The strength barely reached the level of an ordinary Jonin. With the rich methods of the two and their own bloodline limits, one of them can rival a Jonin. Kakashi was a little shocked. These two were even more perverted than he was back then. Kakashi was on the battlefield back then, so relatively speaking, his training time was not as long as the two, but the tempering of battle was far beyond the ordinary training. From this point of view, who is stronger and who is weaker between them is a matter of opinion. Chapter 78. Sasuke and Neji looked at each other, and seeing that they had been unable to defeat Kakashi for a long time, they suddenly had some understanding of Kakashi's strength. There is no false reputation under a great name. Even though Kakashi's strength has improved slowly over the years, it can be said that there are almost no people who can defeat Kakashi at the level of Jonin. Unless they are cheating. But how can there be so many cheating people these days? Kakashi on the side was also secretly shocked by the strength of the two. Sasuke's attack is mainly based on lightning escape, supplemented by fire escape, and secondly on physical skills. However, his attack is a little immature, but his chakra control is still excellent. Hyuga Neji is a soft fist, but the style makes Kakashi a little strange, as if it is different from the soft fist he knows more. One is mainly for long-range attack, and the other is for close combat. Sometimes they can even switch between each other. They are worthy of being the pride of the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan. With such strength, it is no problem for the two to join forces to defeat an ordinary Jonin. But Kakashi is not an ordinary Jonin. It's time to end the battle. Reikiri. A huge lightning flash appeared from Kakashi's hand. The highly condensed chakra aggregate looked extraordinary in strength. Naruto's mouth twitched at the side. Kakashi, is that necessary? He even used Reikiri. Kakashi's speed soared again under the stimulation of the lightning attribute chakra. The powerful aura emanating from Reikiri instantly shocked the two people. What made Naruto a little speechless was that Kakashi shamelessly used the killing intent to deter the two people. Under such an offensive, the two people's bodies froze, and Kakashi had already passed in front of them. The two were fine, but the surrounding training ground had been cut into a deep gully by Kakashi. It was obvious that Kakashi changed the attack path. Sasuke and Neji stared at the scene in front of them blankly. Is this the strength of a Jonin? The two were a little arrogant before, thinking that even a Jonin could be defeated, but now they were easily defeated by Kakashi, and Kakashi had not become stronger for a long time, so he still remained at the level of a Jonin. Elite Jonin is also a Jonin, right? How powerful would the shadow level be? For a moment, the pride of the two was severely hit by Kakashi. Naruto, who was watching from the side, thought it was a good thing. After all, the gap between their current strength and that of the students in the ninja school was too big, which made them a little bit inflated. If it weren't for Naruto's pressure, Sasuke might have been as arrogant as in the original work. He could also see that Kakashi's purpose of doing this was to show his strength and show the power of his ninjutsu. Moreover, the Reikiri that Kakashi showed now did not require hand seals, which attracted Sasuke and Naruto's attention to Reikiri, or to Kakashi's attention. Kakashi's Reikiri can be hand sealed or not. The hand seal is to better mobilize chakra and reduce loss. In the original work, Kakashi used the hand seal of Reikiri when facing Zabuza, and later when facing Orochimaru, he used a Reikiri directly, because when facing a strong man, sometimes the gap between hand seals can also lead to his own defeat. Okay, let's stop here. Naruto clapped his hands and walked in front of the people and said, I told you not to look down on the world, now you see it. Naruto's words also alerted the two of them, and they all showed guilty expressions. Sorry, Naruto, we were too arrogant. They both apologized to Naruto. Naruto, you have also seen Kakashi's strength. I wonder how long it will take to defeat him. Sasuke suddenly asked curiously at this time. Hearing Sasuke say this, Naruto's mind automatically added a battle scene. First, a set of ninjutsu baptism, and then a set of ninjutsu plowing. With the advantage of chakra, I'm afraid Kakashi can't hold on for 10 minutes. If he uses the wind escape spiral shuriken, if Kakashi doesn't use Kamui, cough cough, whoever he hits will die. Naruto's current strength, with the blessing of God's reward for hard work, has reached a terrifying level. Ahem, if I use ninjutsu, 10 minutes will be no problem. Hearing Naruto's words, the two nodded. Naruto's strength is indeed unfathomable. Even Kakashi can be defeated in 10 minutes. Kakashi on the side narrowed his eyes. He also consumed a lot. After listening to Naruto's words, use ninjutsu. Should he rely on the huge chakra of the Uzumaki clan to drag himself to death? It is indeed enviable, but Kakashi does not think that he can't hold on for 10 minutes. But if there is a high probability that Naruto will win, Kakashi also agrees. He should not be able to see through Naruto at all, but instead has a feeling of being seen through. How to say it? Should he say that he is worthy of being the teacher's child? Thinking of Naruto's conversation with Shisui, and then thinking of Naruto's identity and his father's affairs, Kakashi secretly made up his mind. Kakashi, Jonin, you are also a smart person. I will tell you straight, your ninjutsu is S level, but our indestructible golden body is also not bad, and we can currently cultivate to the level of the golden body. In other words, he can practice to the highest level of Kage, and his physical body can be as strong as the chakra armor of the Raikage. It is no problem for him to match your S-level Raikiri in level, and he also has subsequent training methods. What? Kakashi's originally dull eyes suddenly widened, and he looked at Naruto in disbelief. He originally thought that the strength of the indestructible golden body was at most at the level of Kage, but he didn't expect Naruto to throw such a bomb at this moment. After he got over his surprise, he naturally understood what Naruto meant by saying this, which was that it was not enough, and he had to pay more. What do you mean? Kakashi glanced at him. Naruto smiled. It's good to deal with smart people. It doesn't take much effort. Let's exchange sides. You help Sasuke practice ninjutsu, and I'll help you practice the immortal golden body. We don't have time to waste, what do you think? If I build it myself, it will probably take 3 months. With Kakashi's help, Sasuke can master it in 1 month. Kakashi is the same, so he naturally won't refuse. Happy cooperation. The two held hands tightly and smiled at each other. This was the first step of their cooperation, but I'm afraid only the two of them knew that this was not a simple transaction. Sasuke stared blankly at the two people in front of him. Naruto did all this for himself, and he had no benefit at all. But he was still willing to do this for himself. In fact, there are very few such people in the ninja world, except for the closest people. In the following days, everyone spent almost all their time in constant training, and over time, Sasuke's name for Kakashi became Kakashi Teacher. Because sometimes Kakashi would teach Sasuke some insights on the use of the Sharingan. And he would also explain some fighting experiences, which benefited Naruto a lot. Open black lens bracket battlefield fighting +5, combat skills +6, close black lens bracket. Naruto's mouth curled up, what a pleasant surprise. Chapter 79. When teaching Sasuke and the others, what Kakashi found incredible was that Sasuke and Neji were still within the normal range of geniuses. And according to his observation, they might have seen blood. When explaining, he just hoped that they could absorb some experience. Sometimes there is a difference between not fighting and fighting. Especially the battle of life and death. And Naruto was not only able to fully absorb what he said, but also felt like he had really been on the battlefield. The whole person had a solemn temperament. If he didn't restrain his breath, others might think that Naruto had really participated in many battlefield battles. And Naruto also felt as if he had fought on the battlefield for several years. He didn't expect Kakashi to gain so much from explaining these. Of course, this all depends on the ability of God to reward hard work. Ellipsis. Time passed slowly, and the shadow clone sent to the Kingdom of Wind had already returned. The shadow clone taught Gaara there for a month, and in order to develop Gaara's magnetic escape, Naruto got a lot of knowledge about magnetism and electricity. The ninjas in the ninja world still have too one-sided understanding of magnetic escape, and they only know how to use it to control metal. If Gaara forms electromagnetic force on the basis of magnetic force, this is one of the 4 basic forces in the universe. Developed to the top, it is definitely an extraordinary existence. For example, if the electromagnetic force field is developed, it is just a matter of sprinkling water to achieve flight. And first of all, it is to let Gaara master the key to magnetism and electricity. Then form electromagnetic force. If it is developed well, Gaara may not be able to reach the super shadow level in the future, or even stronger. During this period of time, in addition to training, Neji also won over 2 ninjas from the branch family, whose strength is both elite Chunin level. At the age of a teenager, it is also a very good branch family ninja. The 2 may not be able to become elite Jonin in the future, which can be regarded as the level of little geniuses. And because of this, the 2 are even more indignant about becoming a slave like a branch family. This is when Neji found an opportunity and sent it to Naruto. Master Naruto, as long as we can remove the caged bird curse, we are willing to do anything you ask us to do. The 2 Hyuga branch ninjas knelt on one knee in front of Naruto, shaking uncontrollably, obviously very excited. The 2 of them were almost obsessed with being able to remove the caged bird. And now, Naruto gave them this opportunity. I can free you from the control of the caged birds, but this is not free, you have to serve me for 3 years. My seal is only for 1 year, if you reveal my existence or betray the organization, you will continue to be your caged birds. Of course, in just 3 years, you can be completely free. Naruto held a carrot in one hand and a stick in the other. In 3 years, the 2 agreed without any hesitation. 3 years in exchange for lifelong freedom for the 2 of them, obviously what is more profitable, the 2 of them naturally understood. What are your names? Introduce yourself. Naruto looked at the 2 and said. My name is Hinata Shoyo. Chakra attribute is Earth. I am good at Hinata-style boxing. My name is Hyuga Kai. My chakra attributes are water and wind. I am good at Hyuga-style boxing, and I have learned some medical ninjutsu. The 2 introduced one after another, but the latter made Naruto's eyes light up. Medical ninjas are rare, let alone medical ninjas from Hyuga. In Naruto's eyes, the Hyuga clan is really suitable for medical ninjutsu. The Byakugan can see through the body's meridians, and they know much more about the human body than ordinary ninjas, and can also learn medical ninjutsu better. Let me make it clear first, I am only using the sealing technique to free you from the control of the caged bird. If you want to truly remove the caged bird curse, I am afraid I can only research it in a year. After 3 years, I can truly remove the caged bird for you. In these 3 years, if you work hard to contribute to the organization, I may be able to help you remove the caged bird in advance. You guys take care of yourself. After saying that, Naruto directly began to cast a sealing technique that could cut off the control of the caged bird on the 2 of them, and asked the 2 to go to the location where Shisui was, leaving a communication code and some communication methods, and Naruto let the 2 leave. After the 2 left, Neji said a little worriedly, Naruto, do you really want to let them go to the base camp? It's okay, I know you are worried. Actually, I am worried too, so I tampered with the sealing technique. If they betray me, the sealing technique I cast may not be another bird in a cage. If they work hard and have no ulterior motives, the caged bird curse will be lifted for them in 3 years. Ninki didn't expect Naruto to have thought the situation through, and he understood it immediately. That's right, when has Naruto ever made an unsure account? But there was still something that puzzled Ninki, and he couldn't help but say, Naruto, they are very good reconnaissance ninjas, and their future combat power may not be able to reach the level of elite Jonin. It's only 3 years, right? Ellipsis quote. Ha ha ha, Ninki, I knew you were going to ask this. After 3 years, I can indeed let them go. After all, this is a deal. But if they are reluctant to leave after 3 years, it's not my problem. Naruto patted Nechi on the shoulder and smiled. What if they want to leave? If they really want to leave, it means we are really a failure. If we can't even subdue them, how can we conquer the ninja world? Naruto said in a deep voice. Neji was slightly startled, then smiled at each other. Since you have already made up your mind, let's bet everything. Ellipsis. Hinata Shoyo and Hinata Kai, who had just been sent over, had brought Naruto unexpected gains in just 1 week. Naruto opened the letter from Shisui and read it slowly. After reading it, Naruto's mouth curled up slightly, and he murmured, "I didn't expect Tsunade to run to Shisui's hands. Since she has entered the umbrella, she should stay and work obediently." Naruto immediately wrote back to Shisui and handed the letter to the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce in the village. It was composed of special codes, and no one could understand it except them. Ellipsis. Shisui here just received the letter and couldn't wait to read it. He had never thought that the two new medical ninjas in the organization were actually Tsunade, one of the famous three ninjas. The two people from the Hyuga clan used the Byakugan to explore Tsunade's identity. The huge chakra in Tsunade's body aroused Shisui's suspicion, so he sent people to investigate. Speaking of this, it was because Tsunade was not strict enough, and Shizun's identity was discovered, or it was discovered by ordinary people in the organization, because Tsunade had wandered the ninja world with Shizun before, and Shizun had always been by Tsunade's side. The so-called Kato Shizuka's huge chakra, except Tsunade, I'm afraid there is no one else. Once Shisui met Tsunade, it might disrupt Naruto's steps. Shisui and Tsunade have met several times. Only then did he ask Naruto about his plan. After reading Naruto's letter, Shisui couldn't help but mourn for Tsunade. In the letter, Naruto replied that Tsunade should not be allowed to see the top for the time being, and let her climb up step by step, in order to prevent Tsunade from losing patience. This time is set to more than a year, and by this time, Naruto should have graduated. By then, it won't be a problem even if the organization is exposed. And there are many divisions of medical technology in the organization. This is the medical system of Naruto's previous life. Although he doesn't understand technology, it doesn't prevent him from proposing the system and then letting it be studied. A complete medical system road, Tsunade should be very interested. First squeeze out her medical technology. This is not considered exploitation of labor. Chapter 80. Oh, have you found Fenghua Xiaoshui? At this moment, in the land of waves, Shisui looked at his men in front of him and said. As their organization continued to grow, the shortcomings of the land of waves began to emerge. It was small in area and its geographical location was not very advantageous. Located in the southeastern coastal area of the Land of Fire, there is only one bridge leading to the outside world. Although it is relatively hidden, basically no ninjas from other places will come to this small country. But there is no hidden place, and it is adjacent to the Hidden Mist Village. So Naruto and Shisui plan to move to a suitable place, try to get to the south, and there is another place, the Land of Snow. In the south, choose the Land of Tea. It is isolated from several major countries and surrounded by the vast ocean. Only the Land of Fire is relatively close. However, due to its geographical location, it is not troubled by war, but its land area is not small. As the saying goes, eggs cannot be put in one basket. It is very normal to develop everywhere. Their organization members are all over the world, and the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce almost covers the ninja world. So it is not a problem to establish several bases. The business of the Land of Tea is very developed, and it is a grain exporter of 30% on the market. Therefore, it is necessary to establish an umbrella base, which can also become a food pocket for the umbrella, thereby controlling the lifeline of food in the ninja world. Although it will not lead to death, if the Tea Kingdom does not sell food, it will definitely be injured. After all, ninjas are also human beings, and humans need to eat. Once a battle occurs, a supply of food and grass is needed. Therefore, Naruto must win this country. The Tea Kingdom is also a country without a ninja village, so it is easy for Shisui and others to take over this country. As for the Snow Kingdom, Naruto had proposed to seize the power of the Snow Kingdom before, mainly to obtain the chakra armor technology of the Snow Kingdom ninja village. However, the information obtained before was that the chakra had not been completed yet, and now the chakra armor has been researched, so it is time to pick peaches. Now there are a lot more people, in order to cause unnecessary waste, it has been delayed until now. The purpose of searching for Fenghua Xiaoshui is to legitimately change the regime. After all, this world attaches great importance to bloodline. This is why Fenghua Xiaoshui's uncle planned for so long to get the throne of king, and finally Fenghua Xiaoshui's supporters and Naruto and others regained the throne. He got the throne in an unjust way and lost the support of the people. At the same time, this is also a more ambitious character. He wants to use the chakra armor he developed to become a great power. However, due to insufficient research funds, he hid the treasure of the snow country. However, this so-called treasure is just a geothermal device. In the end, it had to end miserably. Shisui looked at the information collected by his men. Fenghua Xiaoshui, the daughter of the former daimyo of the snow country, was forced to leave her hometown by her uncle. Now she goes by the alias Fujisan Fengshuihui and has become a well-known actor. The current Fenghua Xiaoshui is not what she will be a few years later, so her reputation is not as loud as it was then. It's really dark under the lamp. Who would have thought that a famous actress is actually the daughter of a famous person? Even Fenghua Nudao couldn't have thought of it. Shisui looked through the information and a playful smile appeared on his face. What has Zabuza been busy with recently? Why has he attended fewer meetings? Shisui asked warmly, looking at his subordinates standing below. Lord Zabuza seems to have been practicing hard recently, as if the strength of the Uchiha family has improved rapidly recently, and Lord Zabuza has a sense of crisis. The person who spoke was Hinata Shoyo, who was kept by Shisui as an assistant. He was also very surprised when he first came, and even thought about reporting the situation here to the village, but after a few days, he gradually let go of his prejudice against Uchiha. The life here makes him feel very relaxed. Unlike the oppressive feeling in the clan, he began to gradually like the life here and the ideas here. Here, ability is very important. And everyone here works very hard, just like Lord Zabuza mentioned just now. He has heard of the reputation of this adult, the legendary demon Zabuza, who killed all the candidates of the same period during the graduation examination, and later became a rebel ninja because of the assassination of the Mizukage. The cruelty is outrageous. But after getting along with him, he found that this adult is not bad. Although he looks cold, he is actually a pretty good person. People. In fact, the reason why Zabuza killed his classmates was to fight against the policy at that time. The Blood Mist Village was very cruel at that time, and killing and blood filled the Hidden Mist Village. Zabuza's killing also successfully made the Hidden Mist Village change its assessment policy, but it was only a temporary solution. Coupled with Obito's secret control, the Hidden Mist Village fell into the Blood Mist again after a period of time, and it lasted until Zabuza failed in the assassination. Recently, Uchiha Izumi has grown up thoroughly and has stabilized at the level of Kage. And Uchiha Yu's strength is also around the quasi-Kage. In addition, the Uchiha Little Beans have grown up one after another, and the older ones can already stand on their own. With the blessing of hatred, their Sharingan opened quickly and their strength improved quickly. Naruto is worried about what kind of psychology those kids from the Uchiha family have. Problems, and people have been sent to guide their psychology. After all, there are very few normal people in the Uchiha family who have opened their eyes, or there are many abnormal people in the ninja world. If this situation were in Naruto's previous life, it would be a mental illness. So Naruto first proposed the term, psychologist, in the ninja world. Of course, it is now only circulated in the umbrella protection. In order to train psychologists, Naruto used dozens of shadow clones to explain. The core members of the umbrella protection need to go to the psychological counseling center to see a psychologist regularly. Coupled with the education of red ideology, most members of the umbrella organization have very positive outlooks and a fanaticism. It can't be completely normal, it can only be said that their fanaticism is very suitable for Naruto's requirements. It is also suitable for sacrificing their lives for the organization. Naruto feels that the ninja world needs the profession of psychologist too much, it is really indispensable. Few people pay attention to this psychological issue. After all, in the eyes of others, isn't it normal for ninjas to kill people? The reason why Uchiha Itachi was so easily deceived by the third generation and others, and even felt that he did nothing wrong, thinking about this and that all day long, and not communicating with anyone except Shisui, is that there are psychological problems. In addition, the speed of opening the Sharingan is too fast. It would be strange if he didn't have some mental illness. Maybe he realized his mistakes in the later period, but there is no turning back. He can only choose to bear everything by himself and put all his hopes on his younger brother Sasuke. In other words, many people in the ninja world are not mentally normal. Uchiha Madara, not to mention big problems, must have small problems, and Uchiha Obito has very serious psychological problems. In addition, the death of Nagato and Yahiko directly made him like a different person. What about the third generation? What about Danzo? If you want to say who is the most normal and has the most correct values in the ninja world, it is probably Jiraiya. He has his own ninja way, understands politics, and has no big ideas about power. In addition to the personal problem of lust, this is a very admirable person.